We can't.
I said it. I said it. Thank you. Okay, we're not gonna miss it. I'm not gonna miss it. No, I'm not gonna miss it. I'm not gonna miss it this time. I missed it. But we gotta zoom in on the face. Look on over, come on over, come. Okay, we need to keep moving. No, come back! There you are. No, you noodle! Oh my god. Oh, paint me like one of your French models or whatever the line is. Look at the... Oh, that's a butthole. Is that supposed to be its face, you all? Because that's obviously a cat butt. What the f***? You know, I leave for a few generations of Pokemon, and by that I mean everything since first gen. And suddenly we got cat assholes. I don't know anymore, you guys. Apparently we're collecting booties when we sticker this booty up. Sticker this booty up is a thing I just said on my stream in front of you all. Let's go art the shit out of some butt pics. You all, that caption. You all, that caption. Okay, here's the really important question. Do we think we can make this spiral small enough to be his nose? Maybe. Maybe, though. That looks like his asshole. Oh my god. I'm so sorry. Get rid of it. Get rid of it. Which, like, feels like it's using the architecture of the butt less. I think it's because of the perspective. Like, the sticker is flat and the ass is curving. Sorry, I forgot what we were doing for a minute. Okay, now I will say, the butt face on this one... The face on this butt... Banana. You nougat. Yes, yes, yes. Loving it, hating it. Loving it, no hating it! Okay, here we go. Jump, double jump, little fly, turn it around. Sure, whatever, just get it around. Can we get it? Yep, over here, please! Go! Oh, you noodle. Oh! Double noodle. Oh. Stealth! Can't really call it Phoenix, can we? Stealth! I can't imagine you really want this pearl this bad. Stealth! 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 Stealth!
Pick up your gear and open your chests. Throw on your armor and head out on a quest. Hey, hey, it's a brand new day. On the South Coast, your allies will help with blades and bows and magic as well. Hey, hey, heroes on their way. Fighting together against overwhelming odds. Fighting together, invade
Just shout
Hello.
it. Somebody do it.
Just shout butts. Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody.
What are
I'm
we
Okenio.
shouting?
I'm DM Jazzy Hens. We're here for the end, for the finale. We have everybody with us today. So we're gonna start. We're gonna start just here. Hi. Remember to switch it so you can see me this time with Lydia, and just go around clockwise and introduce everybody, because I don't know that we've all ever been here at the same time, except for maybe once very briefly. So
Especially at the
Lydia,
top.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm Lydia.
and you play.
And I play Bazira.
Yeah.
Cheers.
I'm Karin, and I played Kit because
Yeah.
we're none of those.
Don't say
Yeah.
past tense.
No, I don't like it.
You all can't hear it, but I just played sad trombone to the chat. All right.
Oh.
Hi everyone, I'm Robert, and I once was a story consultant.
Oh, God.
Stop it!
Never again.
You.
My name is Alex, and I am still Flip.
Thank you. And over here.
I'm Team Karin here, so I'm Taryn, and I play
No.
Bria.
No, you guys. Okay, it's fine. Hi,
Oh,
everyone.
Can we make bets on who cries first? Is it me?
It's one of us. Like, it's you or me. So I don't know. I mean, you could put Alex in there at better odds than us, right? Like, it's going to pay out higher, but
I don't know. Timing is an interesting question, but the likelihood is like I'm like.
well, and
definitely
for you and me, Taryn, like there's no music in this episode, so I don't have that to use against the two of us. So
That's true.
because isn't that what got you, Taryn, last 2 episodes?
2 episodes ago,
2 episodes
yeah.
ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I hadn't
What
heard
week
it
is it?
yet, so that definitely didn't help. I mean, Karin's whole ending with the finale, just
Yeah.
I'm so glad I was not on this stream because it's brutal. It was brutal that day. It was brutal reliving it. It's brutal, and what's beautiful, brutal.
Brutiful.
That's the title of this week's episode. But it's
Brutiful.
the title of next week's episode.
Next week's.
Next week.
I love it.
So
Alvari,
we-
thanks for
or
that
was
reset.
gonna be-
Season 2 or series 2.
Yeah.
Yeah,
First
episode of season 2,
Oh.
or series 2.
Or the name.
I will make that the
the
final
last
note.
refuge, Brutiful.
I'll make that the final note in the final page of my TLR notebook.
For some reason, it makes me think
Brutal.
of like spiders hatching. I don't know why. but
Ew, what? Oh,
Brutiful.
broodiful. Yeah.
You
Yeah,
just
yeah.
made it horrible.
I mean, that's what it popped.
Wait a minute. What brutal and beautiful is what we're going for here, right? Okay, so
Yes.
7.
Am I stupid? Why?
Thank you.
Why does that remind you of spiders? Sorry.
The word brood in my
Brood?
it's like birth or like. And in my
Oh.
I've been playing a lot of Baldur's Gate 3, so there's a lot of like Drow and Underdark that I've been dealing with in the past day.
Wow. I did
Okay,
not know
so
that. You learned something
is the
every day.
word brutiful spelled BRUT or BREAUT?
I think the U,
BRUT.
because otherwise we don't know what
Yeah.
the
What is going?
BR
Yeah,
word
okay.
Yeah.
is.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fair.
The hard hitting. See,
Okay.
we're so much more able to be chatty right now because we can't. There's nothing to spoil anymore.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
actually true.
yeah.
So
And
7
we're gonna
votes.
spoil everything coming up. So who
Yeah,
cares?
right, right.
Yeah.
So 7 votes for EAU, but then Brian really took the cake and suggested brutiful, like bootylicious.
Oh,
I
that's
like
good.
that.
Yeah.
That's a good
I'll
one.
put options because now we have 2 options for the tone of the first episode of series 2.
Because my
Can be either brutal and beautiful or just about butts.
I love that.
Well, you're just gonna have to find out.
You'll just have to wait.
And I would actually say that the difference of brutal and beautiful and butts is the sum total of this experience.
Oh, it's so true. Oh no. I also, speaking of titles and like encapsulations of this experience, It's been a weird day, y'all. It's been just feelings all day. So at one point, I decided to really torture myself and start going through and reading my notebook from the beginning. And I've said this a couple of times. This notebook doesn't start at season 1, episode 1. Actually, don't. I think the original notebook that has the first season in it might be at my parents'. But this episode starts with season 2, episode 8, which was Beware the Pints. So this notebook goes that Beware the Pints is our bookends in this notebook.
Bookend.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. There was some.
Which we determined was not the crabs, but the what were they called? The weird like spider.
Mean
alien...
locks. Yeah, it was mean
Mean
locks
locks,
back
yeah.
then. Yeah. So anyway, but also as I was going through, I found a lot of really good alternate episode titles that I wanted to share.
Yay.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
these are gonna be good.
season 2, episode 11. The title that we went with was "And Then They'll Think That I'm Fun."
I remember that
other-
was Karin.
The other
Karin said
option, the other option was also about Karin, I think, which is "Who's the Healer?"
Yeah. It might have been
Um,
Karin said that challenging me or something. I don't know.
Yeah, probably.
That was
about right.
yeah. Then the very next episode, S2E12, I actually don't know which one we ended up choosing for this one, but our two options were Handy Old Nice Ife and Help is on the Way, dear.
Oh,
That's the one
I think we chose
Is that what
one.
we went with?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think so.
S2E13 was There Are Worse Things I Could Do, and we didn't have any other options there. Oh, then season 2, episode 14 had 5 different title options. We ended up going with brackets title of episode for that one.
Which really messed
Okay.
a lot of stuff up, right?
Yes, it was a terrible idea. We should have gone with any of the other options, but it's fine.
It's so many options. We chose the wrong one.
Do we get
So
to
the
hear
other
options?
you do. One of the options is the whole.
God. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sisters and Their Bonds. Roll for Sisterhood.
Oh, I like that one.
And then this is probably the one that we should have gone with if we wanted the title of episode joke. Just the title.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, there's a bunch of them. Bizdira Bomb, the Birdcage. There's a
Bizdira
bunch, especially in
Bomb-
season 3 and 4. There's a lot of like title options because I cared if you all agreed with me on those.
Well,
Once upon a time.
hey, you have given us a vote almost every single time when there are full options.
That's true. I have. There's also, it looks like season 3, episode 1 also had a lot of options, including parentheses, I feel like we should, close parentheses, just do it to see if we can. This was our long episode title period.
Oh my gosh.
I love that. I love that
Tired.
weird. I love the. It reminds me of like Panic at the Disco or something. When they first
Yeah.
started putting out music, they had these like sentence-long titles of their songs, and it was kind of like what?
Well-
and they had nothing to do with what the songs were about, or it's
Oh, even better. At least our sentence names were like from the
was
episode.
relative.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I feel like we should try, or I feel like we should just to see if we can. Then we went with We All Speak Draconic. Oh, Lester's Restoration.
Aw,
that.
good old Lester.
Lester.
I like that.
And Prismatic Beetle Swarm,
Ooh.
which was just very
Oh.
descriptive. That must have been the episode where Bria found the shiny
The
beetles.
Most certainly.
Yeah.
Most certainly.
Oh, goodness. Fall Out Boy song title.
Did we ever give an epilogue to the beetle shells?
I
Of
actually
what was
think you
going
did. I
on?
think you used some of them for something at some point. Hang on.
Good. Good words.
Yep. Yeah.
Thanks.
We
Bria,
didn't do it in the season.
yes.
We mentioned it once.
But okay, wait. I'm remembering two things. One, Bria, didn't you, Taryn, Bria, didn't you get Bizdira to do something
Lydia.
with it after you were with the Sea Hags?
Definitely.
Huh, yeah.
Like Taryn's
Yep.
sojourn.
I'm
with
so
the
ready
Sea
for a
Hags.
re-listen of this whole show now that I finally can.
I think that they are mentioned in the last episode, like from last week. I think.
Oh, really?
And this is such a great illustration of the fact that like all of us listened to it and we just did it.
So
We would
here's the-
play it, we would re-listen to it, and we still wouldn't know what we did.
I listened to it yesterday and I have no recollection of what they're doing yet.
Oh, I love it. Listen, it makes me even more excited to do my re-listen from the beginning in the upcoming weeks and months.
There's so many times I just want to like, and I don't live tweet, but I want to live tweet, like re-listening.
Yeah,
to the
well,
episodes
listen,
and be
our
like,
Slack
"Oh my
isn't going
God."
anywhere for a while, so you should live Slack it because I love it when you all do that. I think it's hilarious.
All right, well then, yeah, there we go. I can do that.
I love it.
Live Slack. Oh, RIP the Slack. We don't really
Well,
need that much anymore, will we?
Eh.
Oh,
That's
I'm
okay.
Slacking like every week. Come on.
Yeah.
I just love that one time. I think it was Taryn figured out how to put GIFs into the Slack or something. You
was
you
the
found the way.
End
And
of
Because it was
we had
blocked.
lost his mind. He was
Time.
like, I cannot believe.
You blocked us from being able to do that.
Yes, I
and
did.
then I found the way.
You
and then
did.
You found the way that I found it, and you blocked it again. That's how I communicate. Okay. you complain about me.
She
being
hasn't sent a
quiet
single
in
Slack message
Yes,
since then.
Exactly.
You do understand that literally she's not lying.
No, no, I
you guys had
know.
full-on conversations back and forth, just sending gifts.
Oh yeah.
Like, that's just how it happens.
I don't delete text messages ever. I have text messages from like the early aughts,
17,
right?
I think.
But Taryn's thread, I do occasionally have to do some maintenance on because it becomes gigs and gigs large because of the gifts that we send each other.
Which now maybe also solves which is tied into TLR. I had an old computer and I had to go through and delete all of my messages off of my Mac.
Oh yeah.
Because I didn't have enough room to save a single episode's recording worth. So
Wow.
it's just a
Wow.
good way to communicate. I don't think like emojis like do a good job, but
Yeah.
it's not exactly what I'm going for.
Sometimes you gotta get the right gif.
Yeah.
I mean,
Really-
my problem now though is that I've been on several shows where someone comes and takes the videos of our shows and gifts them. So I am now constantly having to fight the incredibly narcissistic urge to use gifs of myself at all moments.
I mean,
I
if you
don't-
have them, use them. You know, what else are they there for?
There are some really good ones
Thank
from
you,
this
Leia.
seasons
You
of
gotta
Rivals.
use 'em.
I believe it.
I think
I
you gotta
remember
use
you
them.
showing us a couple of them, and they are spot on.
There's also
I want to use
Brian
them.
should be here, I think. So there's a couple there's some very funny ones of me doing weird shit during Rivals, but there are also a bunch of really good ones of Brian and I doing things in unison accidentally, like a lot. Seven just said we all thought the Darmok and Jalad episode. Any of you I don't actually know this about any of you. Did any of you watch Next Generation? Lydia, you might have. You're the only person I think might have.
Yes.
Do you remember the Darmok and Jalad episode? This is an episode where they it was first contact with a new, I think, people, or maybe it wasn't first. I don't know. Whatever. They were interacting with this alien people that spoke basically only in like historical memes. So they would reference famous historical events to get concepts
Okay.
across. And Picard was like, I think it was, it must have been Picard was trapped on a planet with one of these people and had to learn how to communicate with him based on this basically meme language. And Seven says, we all thought it was unrealistic. But I will say, as someone who saw that episode like last year, I was like, oh, the show was so ahead of its time.
I know.
Yeah, I watched Next Gen
It
with my
aged well.
family like when it was airing.
Yeah.
So it's been a while.
Fair
been a
enough.
while.
Fair enough.
We did watch
Exactly how long ago was that, though?
That
Hold
episode of TNG, it was in the first half, I think, of the TNG, so it was late 80s, early 90s. No, sorry, not true. Early to mid 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Sounds about right.
I'm making
did
sure
watch
that
the
that's
first
true because I
season
don't
of-
actually know.
Picard during COVID.
Oh, I was right, actually.
Ish.
Oh, I haven't. So yeah, I can't wait. But I haven't seen any of the new stuff that isn't animated because now I'm doing a chronological watch through. I'm almost done with Deep Space Nine and like 2/3 of the way through Voyager.
Is this our final media rack time?
Star
Of
Trek? Listen, no,
the
because I'll make
series?
this anytime. But like,
No need to wreck
go watch Star Trek.
You know, it's like wrecking Star Wars or
Well, maybe. Well, that being
Matrix
said, I mean,
or
does
Game
anybody
of
have any
Thrones,
final
right?
media recs?
Oh yeah, does anybody have anything else? I mean, I'll wreck Star Trek, but I'm on stuff that came out in there. I just watched an episode of Voyager that came out in '99. They like it. It's basically all set in the year 2000 with an ancestor of Captain Janeway's, and the whole time I was like, oh, y'all thought we were gonna be ready for this in like 6 months? Because this episode aired in like May of '99, and I was like, you kidding me? No. Avari, thank you for that.
I'm a little behind the curve on this one, not so much as the old Star Trek, but
Sure.
I've been watching The Sandman.
Oh.
Oh,
Have you
And-
gotten to Miss Batiste's episode? To the episode with death?
Yes.
Holy shit.
But I will say that like
Jordan.
I don't
Thank you.
find Morpheus to be physically super attractive,
No.
but I just want him to talk to me
Yes.
constantly. Oh my god. the
Meanwhile,
voice
Kylie
on
Jean
that
Baptiste
man.
can talk, stand, stare at me, do whatever she wants if she's playing that death. Holy God, she was amazing.
Yes.
she disappears. She's
Oh,
like,
No,
She's so good.
I'm sorry. I have not seen Death yet. I have
Oh.
only seen, and because I was getting distracted, Lucifer was my last episode.
Oh, yes. Lucifer is a ton of fun.
That was a great episode.
Death is a ton of feelings.
ooh.
Oh, you all are
But
being so
watching
very
it
kind.
slowly.
I have to say very briefly because a bunch of people have been giving out gift subs in the channel. So I appreciate you all very much. Hi, Jordan. Welcome in. And thank you all. I'm excited that you're all here with us for the end. Anyway, all right. So yes, that's
What's
a very good
gift
rec.
sub?
Hi, a gift sub is... oh, God.
I mean, I don't know what it is.
If I
either,
use
but-
sub
I
in the
see it
definition...
happening. It looks exciting.
Yeah, it looks amazing.
If I use the word sub in the definition, is that not going to work for you?
Subscription.
Yes.
There you go.
In the
Okay.
context of Twitch. Popcorn Lizard, thank you. Okay, great. So if you subscribe to somebody's channel on Twitch, it means a couple of things. It means you get a special little badge in chat that shows that you're a subscriber, and you also get access to my library of personalized Oh, you just got one. My personalized emotes. So now you can. So Taryn, look, we're gonna do Twitch 101. So Taryn, do you see in your chat bar all the way on the right? There's a little like emote button, like a little smiley face.
Wait, let me be in the chat. Yeah.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So click on that.
Yeah.
And now
This
you'll
is
see, if you
amazing
scroll down
content,
a
by
little
the
bit,
way.
you'll see my whole library of emotes, personalized emotes, most of which have my face in them, that Kelsey, who did our logo, drew for me. And you can use those in chat now because Seven gifted you a subscription.
Hooray. Let's see if I can figure it out.
Okay, I can't wait. Justin, welcome in. Thanks for the follow. You did it. You used the banana one. Excellent.
You did it. You used the banana one.
The banana and the noodle were some of the weirdest to request from Kelsey, our artist friend. I was like,
Oh,
so I need a new emote, and it's me in a banana suit. Cool? Oh, man.
Oh, Jesus.
Now I'm thinking of the gift of the banana. Like
Yes.
Peanut butter jelly time.
Time, peanut butter
time.
wait,
I love it.
wait.
I love it. Weirdly, asking for me slurping a bowl of noodles with the word noodle spelled in noodles above my head was a way easier ask than the banana one. Shimmy Gangod, speaking of... Holy
All
shit.
time record shattered.
Oh my.
Shimmy
Wow.
Gangod, thank you very much. Holy shit.
Jesus.
Thank you.
Wow.
Wow.
Oh, I think we might
Thanks.
have.
No, actually,
Are
you
we having
don't.
tears? We getting tears?
Do we have a winner?
No, actually, I'm typing a message to you all in Slack.
I
Okay.
just closed
The
Slack.
Slack is alive and well. Excited.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so what does the audience have to look forward to in this episode besides answering all of the questions? Us being a little brain dead because it's the end of day 2.
More than a little. There are so many moments where I just just stop being able to make words. Thank God you were there, Robert, so you could take some of the questions and answer them, because I was like, I got nothing. I also answered, I don't remember a lot.
Yeah.
Well, and
Yeah.
I speaking of Slack, you screenshot. What is the past tense of screenshotted?
Screenshotted. I think it's shotted.
Shotted.
Mhm.
Screenshotted. You screenshotted a couple of screenshots of specifically me and Karin, I think, that are like, I'm probably gonna post to Instagram at some point,
Yeah.
because they're truly just like us, like
It's
dead to the world.
great. I sent one in the Slack today that was a caption that is the perfect like explanation of my working relationship with Robert, because within 2 seconds and on the same captions, we say the opposite answer to a question that we are given.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If someone can clock it, you win a prize.
Oh, there's
What's the
also
prize,
a little
DM Jazzy Hands.
There's the prize is my congratulations. There's also a moment where there's also a moment, I don't know if you all noticed it, because it goes by way actually a little faster than it probably should, but by the time I realized this, I didn't have time to go back and edit it. But I say something wrong, and it confused me so much when I was watching the episode back, did you? That I edited a little correction into the episode, and I'm curious who notices it during the episode.
It was funny.
today.
I was watching it on. I was streaming onto my TV.
Oh,
and so I saw it like pretty large. And I
Big,
was like, it made me chuckle. It was nice.
it goes by pretty quick, I will say. I should have left it up a little bit longer, but
It's
fine.
just enough time for you to, it'll be great.
What else? For all of you who are hanging out with us tonight, after the episode is done, we will take more questions. I'll try and give some answers to the questions I couldn't answer in LA 3 months ago because my brain was in a puddle on the couch next to me, where Taryn was
Where
supposed to
I
be
should have been
sitting. Yeah. Blue Pointer, thank you so much for that sub. Ooh, 12 months. Enjoy the void hand. But after we do that, if you all have questions in the chat, we will be taking them from you all. And if you all around me have other questions that didn't get asked, or you want to try and get me to explain Chuckles, that's, I'm not going to, but
Come on.
I mean,
That
we
was-
already attempted that.
Yes, we did. I
And you
mean,
basically told us to fuck off.
I did. That's true. I did.
The-
You said, so what's the deal with Chuckles? I think it was Lydia. And I said, I'm not telling you. Anyway.
I literally listened to the epilogue and the finishing of the killing of the beast at like almost back to back.
There's so
yesterday.
many feelings.
I know there's a lot of feelings, but I was doing things I needed to refresh before today.
Sure.
And I completely forgot about the epilogue with Chuckles, and who I assume was Brita.
Oh,
What a good question.
We established that.
We established that they were talking
Yeah, I
about
don't
Brita's
remember
child.
anything.
Child.
But ultimately with the Allglorp, it doesn't matter what the bodies were, right? Like, it was the Allglorp.
But you said we don't know if Brita is part of the Allglorp.
Well,
which
that's
is-
true.
Ugh.
Well, because I think our
But then it
assumption.
does matter who the body
Oh,
is.
I guess it does. You're
Yeah,
right.
It very much does. But I think our
shut down.
Mine did too.
Your what just shut down?
My brain was like, no,
No.
I can't go back to the dark place.
This is not the dark place. This is a slightly dim place. We do not talk about the dark place.
Holy shit, y'all. Oh, I got a new Hype Train emote. You all are amazing. Shimmy going out and everyone else who did subs and gift subs during that Hype Train. Thank you so much. Ooh, what is my...
Get away.
I don't know, but I got a new emote and it's called Hype Evil. I can't really see what it is because my screen is too small right now, but it's very cute. It's got big ears. Is it a mouse? I can't tell.
A squirrel?
A mouse?
A squirrel?
Is it
and
a
then
squirrel?
And then a rabbit, and then a something
Crying lion.
A bunny with a
It's a
pitchfork.
bunny with a pitchfork.
Oh my god, it's a bunny with a pitchfork. I had to get right up on my screen, but you're right. That's exactly what it is. That's hilarious. I love it. Oh shit, it's 7:30. We've never just arrived at 7:30 without me sitting here going, for like at least 5 minutes.
having
Anything
such
else
a
we want to
good
say
time.
very quickly, or should we hop over and do the thing and then we'll talk after?
I'm gonna
Enjoy
take
the episode.
Okay, enjoy the. Oh God, I'm not ready. Hold on, I
The
wasn't
final-
ready. Okay, now I'm ready. We're gonna have a little Idol Champions. Thank you to Idol Champions for your amazing support over the years. We're gonna have a little
my
Idol Champions
God,
video,
happy
and then we will
Tuesday.
start the episode. Here we go.
Pick up your gear and open your chests. Throw on your armor and head out on a quest. Hey, hey. It's a brand new day. On the South Coast, your allies will help with blades and bows and magic as well. Hey, hey. Heroes on their way. Fighting together against overwhelming odds. Fighting together in favor of multiple gods. Idle champions of the forgotten realms. Idle champions, adventure never ends. Idle champions, get your wall and there. Idle champions, you will live again. Idle champions.
Welcome to this week's very special Q&A episode of The Last Refuge. I am Eugenio, and with me I have...
Lydia, Karin,
Taryn.
Alex.
And story consultant Robert.
We got the and Emma title. All right. Yeah. We're all done. We've finished our stories. You all got your epilogues. You know, we didn't tie up every loose end. We addressed a bunch of things, but there are mysteries and questions that the cast has been trying to get me and Robert to answer for years now. And we had a little bit of time left over here at this incredible studio, the podcast place. Once again, I cannot thank this place and Solomon enough. Oh, here we go. We're already starting.
Yeah, here we go.
Truly, being able to finish out our show this way has been amazing, so thank you. So yeah, we're just gonna ask some questions. I don't know how long this is gonna last. It may be a 15-minute episode, and if so, I'm sorry that we brought you all here for 15 minutes.
Don't be sorry. Never apologize for something like that.
I've definitely got more than 15 minutes worth of questions here.
Yeah, but then
don't
we have more than
worry.
15 minutes of answers.
Yeah, yes, no, 17, and chuckles. So yeah, we'll see what it is. You know, if you are watching this live, hi from the past. You know, hopefully a good chunk of the company is going to be around in chat, and so we might stick around a little while. I might hop back on live on the channel and answer some questions for you all if you have them. But for the next little bit, we're just going to chat about the campaign, about the story, about the questions you have, thoughts. They don't all have to be questions either. But I know our erstwhile leader, Karin, has a list.
I'm retired. Thank you very much.
Never again.
Her next character is just going to be the most mousy follower type you've ever what type B you've ever seen. I love it. Do you want to start with one? Just toss anything out. I think at this point.
Oh my gosh, there are so many. Okay, sure. Let's start with one that feels like related to what we've just spent a lot of time recording.
Yeah.
This past 2 days / however many weeks y'all have been watching. Tell us a little bit about the evolution of the beast. What did you two first think it was going to look like?
Really good.
How did it end up becoming what it was?
It was so boring at first.
Yeah. I'll let you lead this
Yeah,
one.
I mean, the truth is it was originally just going to be a Tarrasque. You know,
Yes. Oh, yes. Classic.
Sure. For those who are not quite as deeply engrossed in D&D culture, a Tarrasque is a very traditional challenge rating 30 world-ending creature, right? It is highly, I think, as I recall, you know, it's got all of these defenses, much like our beast did. It has all kinds of regeneration. You can only, I think, kill it with like a wish spell. Otherwise, it comes back. There are all of these things, right? And it's been around since the old editions. And so that was what it was going to start as, because at that point, I mean, this show was the beginning of my career in gaming. And so at that point, I had been playing D&D with some of you for 3-ish years, and so I was steeped enough in the game's history and the culture to know that a Tarrasque was kind of iconic and was very dangerous and all of this, but I was not experienced enough to even think of coming up with our own thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think after the first couple seasons, especially with the Arcaniums, I mean, it was definitely at the Arcanium entrance when we started talking about the schools of magic and we started talking about the elements that we were like, let's shake it up a little bit. I don't think we had conceptualized an amalgamation of the different elder elementals, which is kind of the stat blocks that we use as a guide. But eventually that all fleshed together once we realized from our logo that there were 4 islands.
Yeah.
There was a central island. Everything was eventually going to tie together, even from that first Arcanium. And then it really got fleshed out probably once we started thinking about the Southern Island and like Glorp and like their history. They would have a lot more knowledge. And so we had to be prepared. And so we were like, well,
Okay, it's time, I guess.
Let's
What was that,
settle on a
season
beast.
6 or 7, I think. Yeah.
Let's settle on what it looks like. And we did. And I think it all came together beautifully.
Yeah. It's funny, you can sort of track the evolution of 5th edition too by our things, because one of the things that inspired this version of the beast was Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes. That's where the original Elder Elementals were, and that felt very right to play with. Also in that book, after that book came out, before we got to the elemental idea, you all remember and I know this is a question for later, but the aliens from the Western Island way back in the early seasons, there was a time where I was like, oh, maybe it's Hadar, maybe it's the, some sort of cosmic horror that we're going to play with here. And so we're going to have a lot more Starspawn stuff, and one of the ancient old ones from the stars is going to be. So it went through a bunch of different ideas.
We had that brief moment when Chuckles was a big bad as well.
Chuckles has always been the big bad.
The biggest
Let's
bad.
get into that, my friend.
Yeah, let's do it.
So you want to go ahead and explain your ending to us?
I don't. I will give a little bit. That little epilogue to the epilogue was purposefully vague. Let's see. What do we want to say? So, first of all, I think you all figured out, right, that somehow Brita's child is half Glorp.
Gross.
Disturbing.
Which might mean a lot of things, right? It might mean we don't know who the father is. I want to be very clear because apparently some of you thought this. Chuckles is not the father.
I thought they were together.
Nope. So the father may be some Glorp creature, or it might be that Brita has been Glorp for a while. And that side of the child's DNA is the Glorp.
Could that be why Uza was like not Brita?
The truth
being
is
part of that system.
Yeah, I mean, the truth is first of all, Uza's visions were never quite exact, right? And so even if she had wanted to tell you more, she probably couldn't have. And I don't know that she knows. It might be, but as some of you have already hypothesized too, it might just be that she was pregnant, right? Once she got pregnant, it would have been unreasonable to ask her to be the guardian at Uza's door all the time, right? So it might have just been that.
Okay.
The schools of magic and their associations with the elements. Now, when you assigned these, first question, when did you assign them? And did you have any rhyme or reason to that?
Well, I do think we definitely came up with the keys on the Western Island first, right? So the Shimmer Scale and the ideas connected to that school, and then obviously the Spellbinder eventually in Silfson. So I don't know if necessarily we had tied them to.
Nope.
No. Yeah. I mean, they kind of came out. And we didn't draw from a hat, but it was definitely a little bit of a random process.
Yeah. Sure.
We also were thinking about, for example, we wanted to start a little bit balanced between the tieflings and obviously the last Refuge gang. We didn't want one to have, for example, the evocation key, for example, is very powerful because it does a lot more damage. So we wanted it a little bit balanced. We were thinking about that even long term. So maybe a little bit more meta, but
yeah, but in terms of pairing the schools with specific elements, no, not particularly.
Sure.
There's all kinds of like older edition stuff about like some of the schools used to have opposing schools, right? So if you specialized in one as a wizard, you couldn't cast the other. And I sort of looked at some of those pairings, but in the end, that system hasn't existed for a bunch of editions, and it didn't
feel like that was what we wanted to base it on either. So yeah, a lot of it was happenstance. A lot of it ended up being storytelling. What was interesting to give the tieflings that wasn't evocation, what was interesting for the Allglorp to have, and what was left over for the North.
Right. Well, and I can't remember if we talked about this in our other mailbags. One mailbag, but we got the choice, if I remember correctly, of which island, or it was like we knew that once we were on one island, you decided that the opposing tiefling party would be on the other, or like how did that
I think it was the second place that you all decided to go played some role in deciding where the tieflings went, but I think I shoved you all on the western island because you all didn't know there were other islands for all of season 1, right?
Yeah.
So we wouldn't have been able to make that choice, but once we got through season 4 and you all had to think a little bit more globally, then your choice for island 2 influenced what the tieflings island 2 was.
Interesting.
You had talked about Sylphson, and I wanted to go back and talk about ask you guys how poorly did we fuck up Sylphson?
I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
all DMs joke about how, throwing stuff out when a left turn is taken and this and that. I don't know that I've ever thrown out that volume of content before. And I'm not upset about it because it was an incredible season.
It was a great season.
It was an incredible season. But I mean, first of all, I had the city mapped. I had NPCs in other places. We had events that were going to happen. And the idea, was to... I will also say that we had thought of the concept of the season long before Cheeky became a glimmer in her mother's eye. And so we wanted to change things up and wanted a heist, wanted an infiltration, and then our rogue got pregnant. Which was still fine because we thought, well, okay, but they still have 2 solid spellcasters. One of whom has wild shapes that can get into tiny forms and we'll be able to sneak around that way. And one of them is very fast, so she'll be able to get escape. And then the other one can, there's certain divinations too. Well, but you had the shimmer scale, and so that, you could augury certain things and you could do, whatever. Of course, at that point, you'd also lost your cleric, like the well.
No, that wasn't.
And then you all beat down the front door and pissed off the guards and got arrested. And... the rest is season 3.
That was fun.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it was a great season.
I
would
had
love
a lot of fun.
Yeah,
and a lot of trauma.
Yeah, a lot of trauma.
I would love some family history here. I would love to know a little bit about our father and our moms. Do our moms know about each other? Do they know about us? Like, I want to know the family history outside of TLR.
Yeah, the truth is, I don't know a ton about their moms. I don't know if you've ever thought too much about it. I don't know. I think maybe now that you can go home and now that Kit's mom is aware of all of you, that's certainly something that you all could pursue. But I don't really know a ton about your moms. In terms of Gavrael, I mean, listen, he's a celestial in service to Denier. He's an ass, but he's an angel, and they don't. They're not like mortals. He's the embodiment of lawful good devotion to his god, right? And so, I don't know. He did what he was told, which is not an excuse or a whatever. It's just his nature. Yeah. Denier, I don't know how much we've talked about this, but Denier, the original idea, which is far too steeped in like Forgotten Realms lore for it to really matter that much, but the original idea was Denier was beginning to chafe at taking all of the records of the history of that world and being forbidden by the overgod Ao from directly influencing events and just having to watch. And he hated that and wanted a new place where he would not be bound by Ao's strictures, where he could, like in eons before, where he could directly influence mortal events. Theoretically for good, Denier is a good god, but absolute power is rough, and even if it's a divine being who is the embodiment of the good alignment, like, that's still rough. Yeah.
So following that thread,
Yeah, tell me.
what did you originally think would happen with the consecration?
Oh.
I was just thinking that too.
How much do you remember?
I mean, I reviewed it in preparation for this.
You did the homework and I did not.
Yeah.
Group project.
Yeah. Well, we definitely had several pages of like what would happen if it was consecrated, what would happen if you were interrupted consecrating, and what would happen if you chose not to. Choosing not to actually wasn't the one that we spent more time on. I think we thought consecrating was gonna happen. I think our original.
Did you want us to consecrate the temple at that point that day?
At that point, it felt a little weird, I think, if you had chosen to consecrate. But I don't think I don't think I realized at that point the full like scope of the consequences of that choice and how this would have been a weirdly religious campaign.
Yeah.
So I didn't want either at that point. I felt more prepared for consecration, I think. But no, I didn't want either at that point.
I think we also had much more in detail with Gabriel and Abbadis interacting with the last refuge in the world a little bit more actively. Like obviously when the tieflings, they consecrated their temple and Abbadis showed up in the astral plane briefly. Continuing to consecrate or not consecrate would have also brought in Gabriel, or like if Abbadis had been stronger, if the tieflings had been able to do more, et cetera, et cetera. So there was several pages of documents about how they might interact, or how there would be like a race between the two groups.
Yeah.
We initially at one point briefly thought about having 4 other players work out the tiefling side of events. So then it would be just 2 competing storylines, racing to
like on recording on podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, part of me just died even thinking about the logistics of that in retrospect.
But you don't.
Scheduling alone.
That's
Yeah, exactly right.
That doesn't sound like a dream.
No.
As everyone flies to Los Angeles.
Oh, that reminds me, Taryn. Why aren't you with us today?
I have COVID.
We're sorry to miss you, but we're glad we could have got
2
this way.
days before you all arrived, and I'm so.
So I mean, I know we made a lot of noise about it at the time, but all of these years later, we can reiterate that it is absolutely true. We did not know, and that was a live show too, you motherfuckers.
You're
we
welcome.
did not know what was going to happen, and it was wild, and I loved it. Yeah.
Have we ever done anything that you actually expected us to do?
Every once in a while. I mean, you all, especially in this last season, you all made a lot of choices that we hoped you would make in terms of like whose Glort person went to what island, who led what part of the fleet, that sort of thing. We got to know you better as players.
Speaking as just like someone who plays D&D rather than who DMs a lot, I appreciate that as a player.
Yeah.
And writers and who know their group or know the table, it's just so much more appreciated on my end.
You got another one for us, kid?
I have a million.
I see this list. It's long.
I have so many questions. I'm just trying to decide which direction we want to go and
Sure,
what's
sure.
like most related. I think we've kind of touched on this, and I'm just curious. Can you tell us what we accomplished by siphoning off the elemental
sure.
powers?
Yeah, absolutely.
Secrets revealed. This is what I'm here for.
The crunchy mechanics of the beast.
Yeah. So
Minus
first of
the
all, I'm
earth
pretty
piece.
sure. Oh, I screwed that up. Wasn't that doubled because they didn't do it? I forgot to write that down.
It doesn't change anything.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean it
these
doesn't.
are
Okay, so one of
here.
the things that you did, it doesn't change anything. You're right. One of the things that it
shows
did
up
was
and we
it's
redo the whole season.
Yeah, right.
We have to redo the
See?
final.
its speeds. Each of its 4 speeds would have been doubled for each thing that you didn't get. So technically, its burrow speed was 60 feet. I have 30, but it's fine. But yeah, its fly and swims would have been 180.
Wow.
And its walk and burrow were 60.
Thank God it didn't swim. Oh my God.
Yeah, you all kept it pretty close to the center of the island. So let's see. The Earth one that you did fail was it increased its AC by 3, so its original AC was 21. And then immunity to poison reduced to resistance. The fire shield the fire node just took care of the immunity to fire damage rather than resistance. Y'all, the Phoenix is shitty.
Yeah, I know.
Well-
That's why I kept saying, let's bring the Phoenix out because
Yeah.
it's the
Yeah.
worst one.
It is the
The
worst
Phoenix
one.
is shitty, but it's also the immortal one, which we also took out.
Oh yeah. In theory,
Oh,
if you
yeah.
hadn't siphoned, it would have reincarnated
We
itself.
have, I mean, you all gave us, obviously, we played those ancient elementals in the 200th episode, and we had those stats, and we reviewed them ad nauseum before this season
Nice.
was recorded. And I remember Taryn's specific note in an email that said, if, in all caps, if one of them produces an egg, destroy the egg.
But
Well,
don't touch it
but
because
don't
it
touch
will
it.
hurt you.
Yes.
Yes. I also have to say, like, so I will admit this. We wrote the 4 island obstacles, right, for what you all needed to get through to siphon. And we wrote the Western Island hoping that Brio would go through because it was in our minds. I mean, of course, you guys could have done what you wanted, but in our minds, it was a stealth mission. But we wrote it forgetting that since Glorp creatures we have established can't cast higher than 9th level spells, in terms of character level, that means a Glorp creature can't be above 10th level, and rogues don't have reliable talent at 10th level, which meant that when she rolled below a 10, it was just below a 10.
Yep.
Oh, it was rough. I was so frightened that it was going to be an immortal beast. All right, the water node, siphoning it changed the cold damage, and it would have had 75 to 100 more hit points if you hadn't siphoned the water node.
Hello.
And then the air siphon was the lightning damage. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm wrong. It was the air siphon that changed its speeds. If the air siphon hadn't been done, all of the 4 speeds would have been doubled. Right. That's what it was. And that was it for the nodes. But then, of course, you saw like there was a basic attack, there was a special attack, and there was a legendary action for each element.
Sure. Crunchy numbers.
Love it.
Oh my god. I mean,
All right, Karin, what's next?
Okay, I'm gonna ask another big question because most of these are silly things.
okay.
But I do have one that I am very interested to hear the answer to, and
Sure.
I suspect you might be as well.
Probably.
I want to hear what we missed in the prophecies, or what you were trying to.
Ooh.
What were you trying to have us figure out if we missed anything?
Not much, I
Yeah.
don't think, right?
Can you
We
tell us
talked
what
about 'em
they
enough.
each meant in case we missed one or figured out separately?
I mean, of the original ones, God, I don't know that I really remember those very well.
The
I
four
mean,
birds.
You were the
you were the
birds.
birds.
Yeah, we were the
Yeah.
birds.
You were the birds, and you had. I remember part of that was that in consecrating, I don't remember exactly what the prophecy was, but I remember that we were trying to tell you that that was the beginning of if you consecrate, bad things might happen. You might release this thing. You might, you know. So that was definitely part of the first one. And then in terms of the more recent one about the fight with the beast, I mean, you got most of it. You chased down the elemental siphons. That was the petals and the whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you guys got most of it. I mean, there may have been little tiny things, but they weren't significant enough for me to remember them. Do you remember anything else?
If you had questions about the second vision of the original set that involved the tieflings killing everyone and getting the keys,
What I think was
yeah,
pretty
that was
self-explanatory.
in case you want us to interpret that one.
Self-explanatory.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think we're okay. Just speaking of prophecy, I think we had questioned whether or not we were going to cast
Yeah.
prophecy either right before this or right after in the epilogue.
Uh-huh.
I decided not to, but obviously the magic was depleting from the shimmer scale.
Yeah.
What do you think that last prophecy would have been?
I think actually you would have gotten if you tried it before the magic faded, and that was the first tier thing, right? So it lasted a while. And if you decided, I think you would have gotten a single vision that was sort of everything, right? Because this world, your prophecies were tied to this world and the occurrences on this world. And for the first time in millennia, there's sort
Harmony.
of infinite, harmony, but infinite possibilities. There was only so much that was ever going to happen when civilization ended every 1,000 years. And
Wow.
so the divination magic of that was able to focus in. It's why you got it first, right? Like that's such a limited scope of possibilities for the key, but now that's open. And so I think you would have seen 100 different possible futures.
Interesting.
all of them Glorpy.
All of them Glorpy.
Speaking of Glorp, because it was me, what I know I threw a wrench in things when I drank the Glorp, but
Jesus.
how would we have
Don't remember.
how would we have met the all Glorp / would Mirko would we have been introduced to Mirko in that way where he was actually escaping and I helped to get him back?
do you remember? I remember little bits, but what do you remember?
Not that specific. I know we had plans for. There was always going to be interactions with the Allglorp.
Yeah.
So the Allglorp was always, notably, the Allglorp's influence on this world was always limited by the Beast. So the Allglorp has always played the long game. In any way in
we
which
just unleashed the Allglorp.
in which is to somehow find the removal of the beast. So it's worked for many, many years to build these glorp bombs. It's made allies with people who are clearly against the beast, or at least want to control it, contain it, whatever the case may be. So it always was going to make contact with you one way or another, whether as a foe, whether as an ally. I think we were leaving to the situation, and that kind of presented itself perfectly when you decided to drink the glorp and give it a foot in the door.
I'm pretty sure Mirko was always going to be down there on the southern island because we had determined how the Tiefling party had sort of split up from the north. So he was always going to be there, and I think was always going to get glorpified.
Yes.
You would have met Hush because that was your connection. That was the way we got you there in the first place. But I honestly, this is another season that was not completely changed like season 3, but it was a big swing. And I honestly, I mean, again, we could look through the notes, but I honestly don't remember. I think it was a lot about, I do think there was, you were still sort of searching for keys at that point. So that was the main point of contact. The main point of contact with the beast, I mean, with the Allglorp, would have been about the keys, really, rather than about what it did to Vistir.
I have one more question about the Southern Island, and then I'll let somebody else ask. What was the original language before we decided it was Esperanto?
Well, the reason we decided it was Esperanto was because I didn't care. I mean, pick.
Desperation. I have a little bit of a back to the Western Island. I'm so fascinated by Uza and Rithmala and Guard, just as like beings and how they exist and whatnot. And I know that Guard has found a new home in the Plane of Fire, which is totally fine. He gets to there. Where's Rithmala? Where'd she go? Have you made a decision about where she went?
No, I mean, she is eternal. She is also Strahd.
I assume they're all eternal. They
are right now, and I want to get back to that about Uza in a minute. But for Rithmala, she had a connection with the Allglorp for a while, and that was enlightening for her, right? They are both eternal beings in a lot of ways. They both have very strong opinions about what they want in the world and the power and the direction that they want the world to go. I don't honestly know if those desires are at odds or in line. I don't know. I haven't really thought that through in a big way. So I think just like the Allglorp, I think Rithmala is probably biding her time and figuring out whether she is going to continue to remain allied with the Allglorp. Maybe she's giving you all a little bit of time to sort of move off and forget about things so that she doesn't feel threatened. Or if she needs to find a way to deal with the Allglorp. Maybe the Allglorp is the new beast and Rithmala is the new Allglorp. I don't know. I don't know.
Do you think I know? Scary. I almost imagine, like, if she ever figures out how to travel between planes and worlds, I think she would make a nice politician.
You open the door for that, possibly.
Yeah,
true. I mean, for what it's worth, she's also, she is enchantment magic embodied, but she is pretty limited to enchantment magic.
Yeah, right.
So, as for Uza, I'm kind of curious what you all would think. She is also eternal, but she does not have nearly the pleasant existence that Rithmala and even Guard had. She struggles. Her every minute is torn between time. So yeah, I don't know. What do you all think?
I mean, I question like what is going to make her most comfortable. You know what I mean? She's such an anxious little thing, rightfully so. And I don't know. I would want her to be as happy and comfortable as possible. And if that means that she stays in that crystal tube, I don't know.
I mean, I think
there's no way for us to have ever released her from evaporating her, like making it so she doesn't exist.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I mean, I think unless you all, and I don't know that this would be possible, this is a research project you can undertake that I can't tell you what you would eventually succeed in. I don't know. But unless you did some pretty major research about reversing an arcane calamity, the option is to end her. And you could do that, I think.
Murder usually works.
Murder, yeah. Murder's a good backup plan.
It is a good backup plan.
Maybe she could live in the Shimmer Scale. Maybe she's like confined in that little. Okay, never mind. We'll move on.
It seems worse somehow.
Yes,
Somehow.
bad.
I,
Yeah.
Yep.
I have a question about the Arcanium.
Okay.
What's the answer to the riddle?
Thank you.
Oh, yes.
And the
fucking
follow-up
riddle.
question is, what good shit did we miss in the Arcanium?
Yes.
So the one possible way you could have gotten to the answer is what would the other person, the other door, say if I asked if you told the truth?
I go cross-eyed. I'm like,
one of the doors, I think, had a very deadly little construct behind
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
Like some sort of little iron sphere with blades.
Horrifying.
What was behind the other one?
The mace for one? No.
well, now I don't want to ever talk about the maze ever again.
No, I do think there was something good behind there. I don't remember if it was an item
Yeah.
or it might have just been like a hint to the rest of the
It was
Arcana.
definitely a magic item. I don't remember what it
Yeah.
was because
You know what? I have my-
ultimately insignificant. But
This notebook might actually
No,
have that answer
I
while
do
you all
want to
continue.
know what we missed so we can feel sad
oh,
about it.
okay.
Yeah, let me see.
Season 4, The Temple.
Dun, dun,
Ooh.
dun.
Dun, dun,
What the
dun.
god? This is so funny to look at. Here's where I've got little sketches of the guts go in east door. Ooh, we got
The
weird.
guts,
Yeah.
aka the rope.
Yeah.
Mhm. Comments on action,
Courage.
air horn, season 4, episode 7, beep boop. Alternatively, thick with 2 C's.
Yeah, that's
I
what
think
it
that's
was.
actually
That's
what
what
it was
it
called.
became.
I think that is what we went with. The sack, little bird. I don't think I have it in here. I would have to go
Oh,
back to
little
the.
bird.
In our
Alas.
Google Drive.
Yeah.
We'll drop it in the chat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. There you go. By then we'll have looked for it. Yeah. What else?
Well, did we talk about this in the mailbag? Where did you come up with the Wizard of Oz thing?
Was that me?
Robert?
Was that you?
That was probably me.
No, it was you. Yeah.
I knew I wanted to have. I mean, in various ways, I've always liked the ideas of adventures running into other adventures, but in this world, that wasn't really a possibility for many, many reasons. So as soon as we established that this Arcanium had one construct, I think the idea, it popped in my head that we would make him or them have other constructs that they just keep their time or like humor themselves with. And then we needed something to unify them theme-wise. And there's 4 of them, and somehow that led to the Wizard of Oz.
D&D loves the Wizard of Oz. What can I say?
I love it.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it stuck too because then when we get to the southern island, we had the yellow brick road, basically.
Yeah.
The yellow.
I almost made the
highway.
joke when you were doing the like reports and there was the tornado with the building. I was like, oh, and we see some little striped feet
Yeah.
sticking out
Yeah.
from under
Well,
it.
and that was
Oh
definitely.
my
I mean,
God,
you
that's
can see in our document
Yeah.
notes. He says, like the Wizard of Oz, the
Yeah,
buildings
yeah.
are flying. So yes, yeah.
Amazing.
I should have.
Okay. I must know
Yeah.
what happened when Zagara was possessed. What was going on there?
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. So there were a couple of things. When Zagar was originally possessed, I think that was a function of the Enclave, right?
Yes.
That gave you all a message. So honestly, that was probably Octavia or one of her other spellcasters sending you all a message. They'd been watching you for a while, as you all figured out eventually, and that was them finally saying, you know, fuck it, we've intervened as it is. And things are rough. There are some things that, you know, could really go wrong. So let's get in touch directly. And Zagar was
Poor Sagara.
just had a very bad wisdom save or charisma save, and so it was easy to possess him.
Poor Zagara.
Justice for Sagara.
I had so much sympathy for that little thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little moss lurker.
So, on that vein, who the fuck was Chuckles? Like,
I'm not telling you.
I-
He was in part of the mysterious epilogue. But it does seem that he might have been a Glorp person all along. I don't know.
Okay.
Gosh.
Okay.
Perhaps.
All right.
Because, you know, I mean, I think it's reasonable enough to realize now that the Enclave was not the only group that was watching you for a long time.
Chuckles is actually all Glorp's real personality. That's why.
Chuckles controls the all Glorp. Terrifying.
When he, the entire southern island goes,
Oh, that's so creepy.
Oh, so creepy.
Oh, no.
gross.
All right. We teased it earlier. I know the fans are waiting.
Yeah.
They've been waiting for this so long.
5 years.
Tell us about the alien storyline. And also the monkeys.
And the monkeys, yeah, the monkeys were I think they were a stat block that came out when Tomb of Annihilation came out. Actually, they're Chalton monsters, and that was part of. I was trying to pull a bunch of non-standard beasts and monstrosities to populate the island to make it feel full and alive and inhabited and interesting. A bunch of the stuff, particularly in the Western and Eastern Islands, actually, that you all ran across are from various Kobold Press monster books, the Tome of Beast 2, and the Creature Codex. Hey, thanks, Wolfgang and crew. You all are the best. But that one, when Tomb of Annihilation came out, there were a lot of things that I hadn't seen before. They may have been old canon D&D, but I didn't know. So the four-armed gorillas were from that. And then the aliens, like I said, at that point, Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes had just come out, and I was really fascinated by the Star Spawn entries in there and the idea of this cosmic horror and these sort of unknowable, mysterious creatures that were not just from another plane or another world, but another sort of conceptualization of the universe, right? And so the crater was from, their crashed ship. And there were the little ones that you all fought that had the weird wisdom save thing and lots of teeth. And then I think you encountered some of the more sentient,
one of the big ones,
conscious ones, the big ones. And they're, spoiler, that isn't a spoiler because we're done, but they were not the biggest, right? There were others for a time out there. They're gone now. But that was, we're moving away from the Tarrasque as the beast, but I didn't know where we wanted to land. So I was like, let's plant this. And if it grows, it grows. And if we have to lop it off at the base, well, then we'll do that too. And that is what we did.
I think that's how writing works, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, Ooze Island / Southern Island originally was a dinosaur, like Dinotopia type.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah. I mean, basically that island was always destined to be Celeste Conowitch inspired. I don't know if you will ever see this or hear this, Celeste, and Hannah Rose, actually. But Ooze Island came from an idea from a panel at a PAX one year. But even before that, Dinotopia is a very Celeste idea.
All right. The Well.
The well was nothing. I don't know how else to fucking say this. The well was never anything. It was an interesting thing out of one of Mike Shea's interesting encounters thing, and then you all ran with it. The well was nothing.
It had my notes in it.
If you had consecrated the well, a bunch of fucking demons would have popped out and taken over the world, right? And I would have killed you all for making the well a big deal.
I think that's all we wanted to know. Was what would have happened if he had consecrated the well.
A bunch of demons would have had an anchor in this world like you wanted Daenerys and Abydus to have, and it would have been a fucking nightmare.
But it did turn out to be a volcano, which also is very interesting.
Above a volcano. It itself was not a volcano, to be clear.
Didn't you say something something was going to be in the well?
Yeah, I mean, we joked.
Also that a deck of many things was at the bottom of the well.
Yeah.
We didn't use our bag of beans.
I know.
Oh, you never used beans.
Thank God, I was so sure that fucking mummy's tomb was going to come up.
And I even highlighted it in my notes and made it
giant letters.
Font.
We got about 5 minutes left. What other big burning questions do we have? And like I said, we can save some of these, and hopefully some of a good chunk of us will be around live when we're screening this, and we can answer more then. But what do we have for our last 5 minutes here?
I only have 2 questions left.
Great. I love it.
Right.
What are they?
The first one is just because we never learned too much about the Orc City.
Yeah.
Just a little bit about what that would have been like if we had ever gotten there.
I'm really glad that you didn't. I had some ideas for Gungra and the surrounding villages, and like I said, a lot of the Western Island was designed when I knew enough when I had enough D&D rope to hang myself with, and over the years, I have learned a lot about where a lot of D&D races came from and the racist tropes that created them. But back when I was designing the beginning of this campaign, I wasn't aware of a lot of that, and so I used a lot of those tropes. So yeah, I'm real glad y'all never made it to Gungra. But they did have a society, a clearly defined matriarchal society out there, and there were details there in Gungra, but it's for the best.
Yeah. Very fair.
Yeah.
All right. Does anyone have another question?
I have one more question.
Okay.
Because I decided not to ask about the fighter sister's name, but my question is, what were the other moon effects that were Patreon submitted?
Oh yeah.
Fancy.
Oh, yeah. I
While
wanna
DM
know
is looking
this.
that up, do you know what the fighter sister's name is?
We've decided it's Jan.
Jan?
We've decided everybody is Semyaza, Jan Yaza, Flick Yaza, and Mirko Yaza. And then it's just Sem for
rolls
short.
off the tongue.
Yeah, Mirko Yaza.
Yeah. I don't know what the problem is.
Horrendous. All right, so the patron submitted moon magics we got most of them. So one of them was naked flick gear gear modified by conscious effort vanishes for a minute. We're gonna do this. I think we might have gotten this one where the caster rolls a d6 and they basically trade spell slots with other casters within 60 or 30 feet. So either the caster would have given up a spell slot to another caster for the rest of the day, or vice versa.
Oh,
Wild.
Switch bodies.
It came up.
That's
Oh my god.
we'll talk. Anyway.
and then I also think this might have happened, although I don't think you ever got to use it. Because I think you rolled it on a spell that didn't deal elemental damage, but we had somebody submit basically the transmute spell option, except it was automatic. You roll a d6, and the spell damage type would change based on your roll.
Oh, cool.
The two that we never got, one of them is all spellcasters within 40 feet of the current caster must make a DC 15 Constitution saving throw, or be magnetically bound to the caster for 1 minute.
It's fun.
Amazing.
And then the other one was the magic caster, and this is the one that I was really hoping Kit would roll at some point. The caster is suddenly terrified of trees for an hour.
For an hour?
This includes being reluctant to go near. Wait a minute, I have to read the whole thing because it's so funny. This includes being reluctant to go near them, being frightened of the sound of branches moving in the wind, and possibly viewing any leaves that fall from the branches as an attack.
Oh,
Adorable.
When the effect ends, the person still remembers the fear that they experienced and has to live with it.
Wow, that feels really pointed.
Yes. We got one more. Was that your last one, or you got one more? There's one more. Go ahead.
My last question is very silly.
I'm
I
ready.
think that we came up with this at Thanksgiving dinner.
Oh, I'm so excited. What is it?
Is it about the
I want
poop?
to know.
No.
Stop it. What is it? We have 2 minutes.
I want
Shut
to
up.
know from you two.
Yeah.
What lessons do you think the four of us have
Oh, I don't think you learned
learned?
a damn thing. Thank you so much for listening to this final episode of The Last Refuge. Oh, it has been an incredible 5.5-year journey, and we are so grateful to all of you for supporting us, for listening, for sharing, and signal boosting. It's changed our lives, and we appreciate you. We don't know what's next in store for this group, and it probably won't be soon because Daddy needs a break. But keep an eye on our socials. We're all doing cool things, and we'll be around. We'll see what happens next for the crew. But for right now, we're all going to see what I mean? We're all going to take a well-deserved break. Thank you so much for coming out. Those of you who are here watching with us live, thank you for those who are listening on Thursday, the day after, and years down the line as these videos and podcast audios stay out in the world. We appreciate you so very much. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, on that note, I also want to just quickly thank everyone in this group as well. I don't know if everyone knows the history of this gaming group, but they've been playing together for almost a decade at this point.
Yeah, about 8 years for me and Alex and Lydia and Taryn.
And you brought me in just to provide some assistance on the story, and I mean, everyone here is so familial. I just really appreciate being a small part of this. So
more than small part. Couldn't have done it without you. Thank you so much to this man here, story consultant Robert Hub. Thank you for all of you for watching and listening over the years. Thank you to all of you for playing and telling beautiful stories and creating these rich, incredible characters that we all know and love now really deeply. Thank you to the Podcast Place and Solomon for letting us live out our dreams here for our final 10 episodes. We cannot thank you all enough. And as always, thanks all of you for listening. I have been your friendly neighborhood dungeon master, DM Jazzy Hands, and with me I've had
Lydia as Bizdira.
Karin as Kit.
I can't talk.
Taryn as Bria.
Now let him do it.
Taryn as Bria.
Alex as Flick.
and story consultant Robert as Oglerp? As Robert.
Happy gaming, y'all.
Hi.
We're smiling.
We're smiling. That's
Yes.
true. Because
Our
we tortured
tears are
ourselves and like this is our third finale, so it's a little bit
Yeah.
less.
Yeah, true. Yeah, we didn't do
Um,
ourselves any favors, that's for sure.
No, we sure did not. That's it, y'all. That's our show.
Wow, that's the show.
Oh my god.
That's the show.
Was it gonna be Karin? Is it gonna be Karin? It's not gonna be me. I'm feeling
It was.
good.
She was
I'm
close. though.
feeling good, you monster. Couple of real quick before I forget, because they will leave my brain. The thing that was in the one of us tells the truth, the other one always lies, was a jar of honey and a safe place to sleep. So not really very exciting. I also had
I would love a safe place to sleep.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. I also had a note when I was looking this up. I also had a note in that room where it was actually the door that lied that said you could only ask one question. So you could have asked as many questions as you wanted.
Awesome.
Oh my gosh.
And then there was something else. What was the other thing that I said I would give an answer to here? See, I told you it would leave my brain.
That's why you have to make notes.
Was it something we? I don't remember. Sorry.
Was anyone listening? Anyone?
It's fine.
Anyone?
I think
It's fine.
it's during one of those moments we were chatting in the back.
Yeah,
so
it was.
none of us-
We were all we talked the whole
I definitely
episode.
have more questions.
Oh,
if that's
good.
what
Well,
we're
we will.
going for, but
We
I-
will get to more
we'll get to
questions
those.
momentarily.
Yeah.
Okay, so right now, I just want to say thank you to the five of you, to all of you who watch. If you're listening on the podcast audio or watching this later, thanks. This is 257 episodes, a lot of fucking episodes, but it's been fun. Yeah, that's all. I don't know. Do you all have any hey, that was the last episode, real quick thoughts? Because then we have things planned. I don't know. Don't leave yet. We got exciting things planned, so don't leave. But do you all have any I don't know, thoughts real quick about whatever? We can save
I
most
have
of it for
many
later.
thoughts,
Yeah, okay.
but-
Well, we can save it for after. So since we'll save all of those thoughts for a little bit later, I'm going to talk and vocal tap dance while I reorganize my windows so that here we go. Because what we're going to do next is we're going to have a friend of the show, character artist, and also brilliant, just sort of fan artist of our postcards and a bunch of the art on my overlays and stuff. Nat is going to be joining us again. Robert has something planned, and I'm so nervous because I don't know what it is. Probably fine. So Nat's going to...
None of us really know.
Nat's going to join us here. I'm going to bring him in just very briefly. Taryn, you are going to relocate and check on the kiddos and be back with us very shortly, yes?
Correct.
Okay, great. So we will see you in a few, and you're in slot.
You want me to click out?
Nope.
No, don't do it. Don't
Okay,
do it.
bye, Taryn. We'll see you soon.
Don't you do it. Bye, Taryn.
There we go. She's gone.
She's gone.
Take care.
And then as soon as there we go.
Hello.
And there's Nat. Hi.
Nat.
Hi guys.
Hi, Nat.
Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
Wonderfully.
I'm hanging in there.
Well, good.
I've enjoyed the Q&A. I got to most of those were the questions that I was going to ask actually.
Oh,
So that
good.
was really nice.
Nice.
Alex has already warned me that he has plenty more where that came from.
I have
so
some.
all right, Robert, I'm leaving this to you now because I'm going to try and set things up so that I can do the thing you asked me to do.
Great, yeah. Briefly, I wanted to bring you on first and foremost to talk a little bit about what it's been like being one of the character artists and artists for the show, and what your thoughts on it have been for the 5 years that you've joined us, since you've joined us very early on.
Holy shit.
And talking a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, that's been phenomenally cool to have gotten to be involved with the show, even in a small part in that way, and to lend a visual to the characters and bring them out of your minds and onto the page.
Did you have a favorite image?
That I've done?
Yeah.
I think the ones that I've enjoyed the most are genuinely the ones that started out as a silly doodle at work, which is where I usually listen to the podcast. Which was most of the recent ones, because that was where I was doing it, was at work. I like the one that became the "It's Always 5 o'clock somewhere" postcard.
Yes.
Love
The
that one.
body swap doodle was a work doodle. The naked flick on a broom was a work
Oh,
doodle.
I gotta see if I can find that one too. I forgot to go look for
I
it.
did find that. By
Oh,
the
you
way.
did?
I did find the link to that.
Oh,
I
great.
I'm
Toss
able
it
to
in
post
wherever you
it.
want, and I'll put it up.
Let me grab that.
I'm gonna frame that and put it on my wall. No joke.
Fabulous.
Yeah,
If
so
I put
good.
it in the chat, will it work?
It will not. Give me 1 second to give you permission. Okay, now you can put it in the chat.
Cool. Which window do I have the chat?
Good luck. I was lucky to find my chat so quickly. There it is. Let's see. It's still amazing. It's still so good.
Yeah.
Oh god. All right, I'm gonna see if I can real quick toss that up while we
That
while
is
we
in
carry
fact
on.
one
But
of my favorite ones, though. I think that one and
it's
the
really good.
there's one that I did a while ago that I also just found the link, which was the kit doing a scrying with the shadows of a plant that
Oh,
she was using.
yeah.
That was really cool. If I can link that one as well.
Let me give you another permit just in case, because I don't want your stuff to get
Yeah.
deleted. Hang on. Permit.
That one was I did an
photos.
experiment with the
Okay.
lighting in that one, and I was very pleased with it. So that's one that I was proud of.
All right, so here I'm gonna switch this over. They'll still be able to hear you. They just won't see you all
Fabulous.
for a moment. But there is Flick got naked on a broom.
About that one.
Mhm.
Oh, here I'll put it here so
classic.
that you all can see it too. So there's naked Nick, naked Flick on a
Naked
broom.
Nick, who's
Naked
Nick?
Nick.
Who's Nick? Let me switch this back here while I get this other one up.
Yeah.
Which
Who's
one's this
Nick,
one?
and do you have his
Oh,
number?
this is the scrying. Yeah, this one's cool.
Oh, this one's
Yeah.
so good.
Yay!
Oh, I love
So
it.
there's that one
That
of
was a
Kit
very
scrying.
evocative
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's
visual.
Such
so
a cool
good.
moment.
Yeah.
Such a
I
cool
mean, come
moment.
on.
And there's probably many, many more in my sketchbooks that I never finished enough to a point that I wanted to post because that's a personal standards of art thing. But
Totally.
Well, absolutely.
I get you.
I'm glad to have gotten to watch the journey this entire time and to have participated in it. It's sometimes silly, sometimes serious way like that.
Well, I mean, that's our show, though, right? Like, that's why
Yeah.
we love you and why you fit
Yeah,
in so
very
well.
much.
Like, that's what we do. Yeah, I think a lot about like what I'm gonna have of this show and what I'm gonna think about this show in 5 years and 10 years, and like the collection of your art is. I mean, because listen, I'm gonna do a re-listen of the show, but that's a lot of hours of audio. I'm gonna do it like maybe twice more in my whole life. So, being able to go back to this art, this amazing art of so yeah, thanks.
I did look it up. A straight listen through without breaks is 11 days at this point. So
Yeah, that's not that bad.
I was gonna say that's less
know
than
what?
I would have thought.
yeah. So
Sounds doable.
All right, I'll see you in 11 days, Ward.
I leave the call.
just bounce. I got stuff to do. I love it.
nice.
Something goes wrong.
And then also briefly before we move on to I think a bit for the cast for tonight.
Okay.
If people wanted to find you or contact you for any of your work or to have you as an artist for
Oh,
their
yes,
campaigns, where
please.
can
Oh
they reach
gosh. I'm currently not technically open for commissions for the
Okay.
next couple of months because I'm going to be moving across the
Busy boy.
country.
you?
I
Oh.
know.
I know. Sorry.
It's okay. It's not like I've seen you in like 4 years and you do live in the same city as me.
All of that.
Yeah.
May or may not still have a book that belongs to you, and I better find it before
Very
I do.
possible. You know what? Keep it. It'll be excuse for me to go see you out there.
That is true. There's a
Yay.
number of reasons for the move that I may or may not articulate on Twitter if they come true. But
Great. Great.
Twitter is always a decent place to reach
Okay.
out to me. No matter how far that ship sinks, I will go down with it because
Yeah.
it's useful.
Yeah.
Um,
Mood.
barring that, I am a lot more active on Tumblr now, which is unfortunate for many.
That's wild. Okay, how's that going?
It's coming back from the dead, and it's a much more tolerable place now.
Oh, that's good. That's nice
but
to
I am
hear.
Nat Rose with a Z there as well.
Nice.
And hopefully I'll
Yeah.
have commissions open sometime this summer.
Yeah.
But
even if he
anyone is
doesn't, go
welcome
follow
to
Nat,
reach
'cause,
out.
yeah.
Oh yeah, and anyone's welcome to reach out, and I can be like, hey, on a special consideration, I will give you a specific time that this could happen.
There you go. But don't assume anything and don't badger. He'll get it to you when he can get it to you.
Yeah, no, I have a schedule. I have so many weddings to attend. and things
Oh,
like
it's that year,
Yeah.
huh? We all have that year or a couple
I've
of years
reached
in
the
our
point
lives.
I've reached that point in my late 20s, early 30s, where everybody I know is having kids and getting married finally.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome. Wild.
Better than the alternative, divorce and death.
No, that's true. That's true.
Wow.
Hopefully we got another couple decades before we get to that window.
Give it another 5-10 years.
And I assume we'll probably see at least doodles relating to
yeah.
season 2 whenever it drops.
Oh, definitely.
Oh, for
In the
heaven's
near
sake.
future.
First of all, series 2, season 2 was 6 years ago.
Campaign.
Chapter 2, whatever.
God.
Episode 2.
It's super confusing though because I've been doing a familiar quest, which is a stream where we all play familiars, right? D&D stream where we all play familiars, right? But it's produced by Codename Entertainment, which is in Vancouver. So they keep calling season series, and it is very confusing to me.
Yeah.
Series 2. No, but this is season 2 and they're the same characters. What? I
That
don't know
is
what's
super
happening.
weird, yeah.
I don't know what's happening.
Goofy.
World book number 2.
What?
Let's call it that. Oops. Oh, am I getting kicked off?
Anyway. Oh, hold on. You're muted, Robert. Hold on. Okay, go again.
Okay.
No, sorry.
And then-
Everyone was muted because I forgot to. It doesn't matter. Go.
Got it. And then you and I, on the side, have been working on one final thing for the cast to
Yes.
kind of as an homage to
Homage.
this campaign, to the time together that you all spent playing. And Nat, you did one more commission for us, and I believe Anio is gonna put it up.
I'm gonna try.
Oh, no.
Hold, please. It's gonna take me just a minute.
Yeah.
Because I haven't been
Yeah, I was
allowed to
gonna
look
say,
at it. So I'm trying to put up an image without looking at it, which is
Oh, that is funny.
super fun.
I believe in you.
It's kind of working.
You can look at it now. Everyone's gonna be looking at it.
Yeah, but I'm trying not to. Oh
Oh,
god.
no.
Okay. Okay.
The
Okay.
last
Now I'm. Oh. Okay. I'm gonna transition over on the stream, and then I will put it up on the screen for you all in the guest star call.
Oh, I love it.
Oh my god.
Does it count if
That
you
is
can't see me?
beautiful.
I love it so much. Oh my
I'm
god.
so glad.
And it has a
I'm really
couple of
glad I'm not on
different
camera right
little
now.
Small things, just harkening back. So, Bria's reverse chair.
Oh my
Flick,
god.
flick your little plant buddy is on the table.
My
as
little
well.
plant buddy.
The dagger obviously makes an appearance.
Yes.
There's even a
Dagger.
tiny Robert on the table, actually.
There is. I just
Oh my
saw
god.
that.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
God. Oh, it's so good. I'm gonna print it out and frame it. That's what I was gonna say. Like,
Yeah.
prints of these. Yeah, 7.
Yeah, I thought Naked Flick was gonna go on my wall. This is gonna go on my wall. It's beautiful.
I mean, you got big walls.
I can put whatever I want. Oh my god, it's so beautiful. I'm
Yeah.
down for the count. Oh my god, Nat, that's beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're so very welcome. Y'all are amazing, and I'm so glad that I could give you this gift of celebration of a wonderful story that I
Thank
very
you,
much
Nat.
enjoyed following. You guys are amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nat. Oh my god, crying on stream. Can't believe it.
Mom,
I know.
I'll get it. Mom, I'll get it to you. Just chill.
Just for the people.
That's my
who
mom.
play beds.
T word to V is my mother, so don't worry about it. I'll.
Just for the people who were
Oh,
betting.
thanks,
Who
Sunday.
was the first one to tear up?
It was
wasn't
me,
watching
but that's why I
outside.
said because does it count if I'm not on
Okay.
screen when it happens?
Got it.
It still counts.
Still counts.
To
Then it
answer
was
the
me, but
question in
only
chat,
because
there
I
is a
had to
French
see the
version.
art before it went on screen. If I hadn't, it still would have been a race between me and Taryn.
Well, we don't know. Is Taryn crying or not?
Of course
Yeah.
she is.
Yeah, probably so.
In the chat.
And no one can see
Oh
me.
my.
See?
Yeah.
All All right, man. Well, thank you again for everything you've done for the campaign. Obviously, everyone's very appreciative of this last commission. We'll probably see you again soon. I'll see you in like an hour when we play D&D.
Oh, that's right. You guys have D&D soon. Taryn, if you want to start trying to get back in the guest star, and if you can't, I'll resend the invite. Nat, oh my God, thank you.
You are so very welcome.
Thank you,
It's been
Nat.
an honor and a joy.
Likewise. Thanks.
No, it's love.
Yeah, we'll talk soon.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye, Nat. Oh my.
Oh, man. I mean, I knew it was going to be
Let's get Taryn
rough,
back
but
in
like,
here.
I sure didn't expect. Yeah, she's working on it.
Oh my.
Oh, no.
Well.
Hi. I can't hear you. You're
Fine.
muted.
We're fine.
You're muted
No,
on your
she said,
end.
I'm fine.
She said I'm fine, but we still can't hear you, Taryn.
I'm fine. We're fine. Oh no.
Oh, it's so aggressive. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I had the other window open because I was watching because I knew something like that was going to happen. And then you said on backstage, I can't hear you, Taryn. And then I heard it on the other side too. And it was like really.
Yeah.
Sorry. Oh, thanks, Michael. The Michael TV. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, I know who that is.
Okay,
Wow,
good.
Also, thank you, Robert, because I assumed that you arranged all of that. and
Yeah.
that was really, really, really sweet. That's very nice.
Thank you.
Nat did all the hard work. So,
No.
but I also wanted to just
Well, you took
acknowledge-
initiative, and that's.
Yeah, I mean, you all, I've said it
It's a
many
different
times
podcast.
in the past couple of episodes that like this very much feels like a family that Nat and I both joined. And I'm very appreciative of all the feelings, all the stories, all the inside jokes, all the camaraderie we've had over the past couple of years. So, yeah.
On that note, I just have to say rope.
Yes.
Get that
Thank
out of
you.
the way.
It's gotta
We
be
got
in
it into
everyone.
we got it into the episode, but since you're here, we also needed to. Yeah.
You're welcome. I've finished my wine already.
I'll be right
Okay. Let's do that. There we go.
Also, I know I have been pushing for this a little bit, but like
Oh no.
I've talked about how you all have
Oh.
meant to me. I don't know if everyone in the audience like knows what the story means to each other. Like, yeah.
Who's ready? Because then when Taryn gets back, we'll do questions. But who's ready?
I think I should go first because otherwise I'm just gonna like. go, I'm. It's getting ready. I mean, this has taken me on such a journey that I never even thought I would go on 1,000 years, and I have had like. It's amazing when I think about this experience, and I think like this is a group of people that we've experienced something so unique together, and I think it's something different than a friend group. It's something different than a clique. This is just such a special thing in my life. It's enriched my life so deeply, and I don't know if I've ever said that to you all like as a group, but like every single one of you means so much to me, and like in ways that you don't even know. And I have enjoyed every second of this, every single second.
Even when I stole the mace.
Even when you stole the mace, I think that's like that's the richness I'm talking about. That's like it's always such like there's sometimes annoyance with it, and there's sometimes frustration, and there's sometimes it doesn't even matter. Like it has been so much fun, and I think I've said it so many times to you all. Where like I just love this show, I love this game, and I think we've put together such a fantastic story. I know Liana is loving my speech
Feeling
right now.
things,
It's only right. It is only right.
She's like, keep going, queen, keep going. But that's sort of just so many blanket statements. I know that I've like, since I think about the beginning of the show, and I have just changed so much in terms of how I think and how, like, and I know the same goes for all of us. Our lives have changed so much, and that's what I can't. That's the part that I almost can't fathom. It's like we have built something so cool and so unique and so us, and we've maintained that all the way through. And we have, as people, have changed so much, and yet we've kept this little kernel that we have.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's what this show means to me. That's my book report.
Good book report.
That's it.
On Peter Rabbit.
On Peter Rabbit.
Oh,
Don't
a
get me
musical
singing.
theater reference.
Had to get
to
one in because there
round
wasn't
it
one in the
all out.
episode. Yeah.
I did say I'm still here in the chat.
Oh, you did. That's true. Lydia?
I mean, all the sentiments
Yeah.
are, the same. But one of the things for me was that this was a real lifeline. Yeah. God, now I'm getting there.
We got you there.
We started this campaign right after I moved across the country in a new city, no friends, nothing.
Yeah.
And so this was a way to stay sane and a way to stay connected.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I got.
Yeah. No, it's true.
that's-
I mean, we all
what
started
it
in the same city and now we're not, but this has been
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. And I mean, like, for me, especially, like, with everything in life and everything else, it's been a way to deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do.
I'll tag onto that.
Yeah.
I have butterflies right now. I'm like nervous. One of the things that I used to make fun of myself, and y'all used to make fun of me because I would be like in a bar drunk, like telling people how great D&D was, like preaching the word.
I wasn't making fun of you for that.
You were right next to me.
Yeah,
I was right there with
filling
you.
in the gaps.
Yeah.
And one of the parts of that is, this is not, I mean, it's improv and it's fun and we're so silly and you build your family and all of that, but you literally like live and die with these people. You experience things, and I'm sure I've said this on one of the Terran Talks, but we have experienced things together bigger than life in the show and have helped each other through life in the show. I mean, we went through all of COVID through this. We did this through COVID.
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
No. Oh my God, no.
If we had lost this during COVID, yeah.
You can talk. You are capable of speaking.
You got this.
When we started this show, my husband and I had barely started trying to have a child. And then we went through 3 years of infertility. And then we got pregnant. And I remember telling all of you that. And then we went through more of that to get pregnant with our sons. And this was like the happy place when all of that was happening. And I just love you all so much. I'm so grateful for I remember so many times us being so frustrated with scheduling and being like, God, I'm so mad at this person right now. Like, why couldn't you get your Friday off? Like, God. And then we would get here and we would just be, it didn't matter.
It never did.
We'd spend 3 hours together and just laugh and have the most wonderful time. And I love you all so much.
Cara, you're next.
I know. I mean,
I
cosign.
tears streaming down my face.
I don't need to be repetitive. I agree with so much of what you all have been said, but I guess from my perspective, what I'll add to it is Robert talks a lot about how he feels like he joined the family, or he felt like he was like becoming part of it as things went along. And I felt the same because, you know, the four of you had like already an established like friendship and like you know, way that you played together, and I truly feel so honored that I was asked to be a part of this, and that huge that you saw something in me that was like, oh yes, this is the person we need to round out this.
It was the books you were reading. I was like, nah, I can ask her about TNT.
Yeah. But I
She's the only one that can get us to the end.
But yeah, I can't say how much it means to me that I was asked to join this family and be a part of it, and now to have all of you all as part of my community and my friends as people who I know I can rely on no matter what is that I can text about anything, and just being able to like have built those friendships over this year while also like building a like hobby and a safe space and just like learning more about myself, not only as a D&D player but as a person. And this has been one of the most important part of my life for the last 6 years, and I'm so sad that it's over, but also I know that, you know, we're all going to be connected and be friends for life. So it's sad, but also I'm like, but we'll always have each other.
Yeah. It's not completely over.
No.
Yeah.
It's just a different chapter. Yeah.
Yeah. And Karin, I have to say this, and I know I've probably said this in Slack, but I am in awe from listening back to like the beginning of the campaign and you saying like, oh, which one is the dice?
You know, the second and third times you'd ever played Dungeons and Dragons, those first few episodes.
And I played with you one of the first times ever. Like literally, I met you at Eugenio's house, and like I remember like going through the rules with you and everything.
And we got rock shrimp.
And we got rock shrimp.
Oh my god! Oh my god! How dare you?
We got some the other night and thought about you.
Oh. Anyway, I love you all, but I hate you. But going back and listening and hearing like Baby Kit and Baby Karin like playing the game and figuring out the rules, to watching you and Alex strategize during the weekend we recorded all the episodes was absolutely, like, I was blown away when I really realized how much of a transition that was. And obviously, like, you look back at it and like, yeah, we played for 5.5 years. So like, yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
I can't even tell you how many times I have asked Eugenio about my monk abilities.
Go back and listen to the tapes.
Yeah,
He didn't cut any of that out.
Roll clip.
I did.
You picked it up, you figured it out, and you've done something that I'd like. This is why I play fighters, because the magical side of things, I'm just like, no. And you just, yes, you were always correct in everything else. Like, you just locked in.
Not
on
always.
Well, majority of the time.
Many
I
times.
think I'm the person that drank the glorp, you know.
Oh, I didn't show chat this. Oh, I don't know if I can find it now. The day that we recorded the episode where you drank the glorp, I just have in giant letters on the top of my notebook. Bizdira drank Oblex juice. Figure it out later, I guess. There it is, but
Throwing around some things.
it was great. Listen,
Yeah,
it was
I
great.
have to give you a shout out for that, Karin, because it's really fun to listen to the journey. I mean, for all of us, but
yeah,
to, you know, as you said, like we've been playing for years before.
It's too late for that.
It's too late.
Yeah.
I can't get it to work.
So, but you have slotted right in, and you are part of the family.
Truly.
And you too, Robert. I remember the first time I played with you too. That was fun.
Thanks, Flippy.
As do I believe. As do I.
I don't.
I have
Playing with Robert.
We're still the same person.
This is all smoke and mirrors right now.
Yeah. So you know what? AI has gotten so good, everyone will believe at this point.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Topical.
Yeah.
Huge and Robert, you're not going to get out of this, so.
Yeah, it's your turn.
I mean, Robert has talked a little bit about it, and I did a Twitter thread that you can all go read. But but I think one thing I didn't realize until recently was what a collection of my life this show has become. In so many ways, right? Alex and I have known each other since we were kids. Taryn, you and I did theater together in New York, and through you, I met Lydia, and we had several years before you both moved to California, where, you were sort of my main social group. Cara and I met working at the National Alliance for Music Theater, and that, less in recent years, but for a long time, was such a huge, enormous part of my life here in New York. And Robert, I met at the at the game store here in Queens. Hey, mamacita. At the game store here in Queens, when I started playing D&D, and one game a week wasn't enough. I needed my fix, so I found the Geekery and met you. And in particular, over the last 3 years, we've all lost so much. Whole chunks of my life and my friends and who I am as a creative and as a person were just ripped away from me in 2020, from all of us, right? And I've lost a lot of, not because we fought, but just because of the last 3 years, I've lost a lot of friends. I haven't been on stage in years. But you five have been there the whole time, and you're from my life outside of gaming. I've also made so many new friends since I started my career in gaming, but you all are from before. You have always been, as far as I'm concerned, part of my life, and to have you and to have this story as a time capsule of all of that. I mean, that's, I don't know, a gift, a miracle, something. I don't know. Yeah. And the stuff I said on Twitter. I don't know.
That my kids someday are going to listen to this.
Oh my goodness.
We say fuck a lot, so we're going to be older, which is going to be weird.
Time capsule, though. They're going to be like, okay, listen, lady.
Yeah.
Ugh. We're supposed to do questions half an hour ago.
I've only got one.
Things.
I think we got sidetracked.
Just a little bit. There's a lot of feels.
A lot of feels.
Robert, you were going to say
Robert.
something?
Oh, yeah. Did you have more?
Yes.
I don't want to cut you off by any means.
Your turn to start with the waterworks.
Sure.
Let's start with the waterworks.
Yeah, I mean, again, not to reiterate, but many of the same sentiments have been expressed. I think the past couple of years in particular, and I think this is true for several of us, have rarely engaged in any of the same social activities that we used to do. And so having something consistent with people you enjoy, and I'm not always even on the Zoom call with y'all or whatever the case may be, but the feedback, audio, whatever, after every recording, let me know what happened, and we would laugh and we would joke about silly things you did or recurring motifs or just our bananas plans for the future. And whenever he would express a sentiment that someone would say, oh, that must be a Robert idea, I felt like I was there, oh.
Mm-hmm.
It's just such a weird experience. Not even being physically present, but still being part of a little group. and just seeing you all over the 5 years. People have left New York City, so Taryn and I only met for first time when we did our recording in LA.
That's
and
true.
Obviously, there was the COVID issue, but there's such a like a just meeting you, I could sense that like warm openness that is conveyed over camera, sure, but like y'all are truly amazing people. I'm finding myself at a loss for words, which is unusual for me.
Yeah,
But,
y'all did it. We did it. 6 years,
Bring your chair
357
backwards.
episodes.
Bring your chair backwards, it'll help.
Play it back. Play it back.
I feel very lucky that Ohania and I played games in a gaming store, and he was like, "You kind of think in a way that I think
I need."
Yeah, that might work well in planning this campaign." Since then, it's hopefully been something that a lot of people have enjoyed, and I think aside from the way it affects all of us, the response from the community, the art that we get, the commentary that we get, some of the feedback that we get on that we read out at the end of the show shows how much this show has affected people. It's helped them get through these hard times, and that's so enriching.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
It's pretty cool.
not any words that can describe how powerful a feeling that is as someone who also like really appreciates doing good, whatever that means in the world. And doing it through this way is important.
Yeah.
I just want to mention, like, because you said that you weren't always on the Zoom call, or like we've only really had you for like the past 2 seasons, I would say, like present with us as we're recording. And I personally can't imagine the show any other way. I can't really remember us recording without you and having you in the room with us. And like, I think that speaks volumes, like how much you've meant to this story and how much you've meant to us. So like, I don't know, like, that's all I have to say. You've been really such a special part of the show.
Yeah.
And I hope you know that. I hope that we've expressed that in the best way possible.
You've literally been the man behind the curtain.
Yeah, truly.
You know, always
There were a lot of
present.
cool
times where I
thing.
was like, he's here, right?
He's listening. He's
Robert, if you can hear
listening.
us, say yes.
The chat pops up. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Look, you know, it's never going away. The show's around. Listen again. We're not going anywhere in each other's lives. We'll be around. I don't know. Thanks to everyone for everything.
Really.
Okay. Enough of the maudlin. It's been fun and very cathartic, and I simply can't do it anymore. Do we have chat? Do you have questions about anything in the show? I, as you saw in this episode, reserve the right to say, fuck off, I'm not answering. But if you have a question, it'll be easier although chat's slow enough that I can probably catch it, but start it with question in all caps in the chat just so it catches my eye. But I know a couple of you all have further questions or repeat questions or some sort of questions that you wanted to ask. Oh, okay. Starting off strong.
You have to promise to tell the truth.
I will not promise that.
Yeah.
Actually, here's what I will promise
am I
you,
gonna-
though. I will promise that I will either not answer or tell the truth. I won't lie.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, there you go.
On a scale of 1 to 10,
Oh, okay.
10 being very angry and 1 being not angry at all.
Okay.
How mad
Hold
were
on.
you?
I know what this question is going to be, and so I need you to define the time frame in which you're asking about very specifically, because I think I know what you're going to ask me.
How mad were you when I told you I was pregnant for the second time?
Oh. So until that last clause, this was not the question I thought you were going to ask.
Ooh, I want to know what you thought I was going to
I was not at all angry. I was a little nervous because, I'm getting a hold on. Are the babies screaming? Oh.
I have someone searching for me that I don't want on camera, so hang on.
Okay, great. She can hear my answer while I answer this, though. Yeah, I wasn't upset at all. I wasn't angry at all. What I was worried about was that because at that point, we still were not sure of the timing of the end of the show. And so mostly what I was worried about was that we were gonna end or need to do a lot of like awkward time-filling tap dancing to get you back in order to finish the show with us. That was my biggest concern because I didn't know what the roadmap was at that point. And well, I don't want to say, no, I think we've said this before. Because that second time, oh, here you are. Let me bring it back out on the stream. Because that second time it was twins also, like, that was a big question mark for both you and I.
We were like, how long am I going to be able to sit
right?
in a chair?
Well, exactly, right. And that was the thing. Like, even if we'd known more and I could have said, all right, well, we're just going to crunch it and finish it as quickly as possible. Even then we didn't know how much time we had. So that was what it was more about that time, was just like, I needed to start planning the end to make sure that you were in it.
You didn't answer 1 to 10 though, because I remember.
Oh, I'm sorry. I mean, it was how angry was I?
It
It was 1. It was genuinely 1 or 0. Because I wasn't angry. To be very clear, I love your daughter, and I was not angry about her either.
Well, that's why I said the second time, because I know the first time everyone knew that we were going through infertility, and so it was very joyous. But the second time was like, you already had your kid.
No, I mean, it was just the timing question marks that were so present in my mind because we were. I mean, that was season 8, right?
We were already having discussions about the end.
Yeah. So that, I mean, that's entirely what it was for me, was just, I was so worried.
So you are all welcome for the extra content.
Well, that was the thing. We really did. I mean, maybe we could have made season 9 a little shorter, but like, yeah.
No.
We have a few in the chat, and then I'll come back to if you all have any.
Again.
Okay, great.
I'm going to pop off for just 1 sec.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
Okay, so we got a few in the chat. Let me pop these. Sundu says, question, did the Cleric Quintet by R.A. Salvatore influence the choice of Daenerys being the god from the Forgotten Realms to be used? Yes, 100% it did. I had just finished reading the Cleric Quintet. It's so wild that you called this out, Sundu. I had just finished reading the Cleric Quintet, and so Daenerys was already on my mind. Daenerys and Ogmar are some of my favorite Forgotten Realms gods because they're the nerds of the Pantheon, right? And so Daenerys was super on my mind. The concept of like Ao keeping the gods from interfering with mortals was on my mind. And I had just read everything in the Cleric Quintet about like spirit soaring. And that's where a lot of my ideas for when I helped Alex, who of course is not here right now, with his backstory, like that's where a lot of that came from as well. So yeah, good call, Sundu. That's exactly where that came from. Also from Sundu, was there any way to save the kobolds' marriage? Do you mean Arx and Varn? Because I think they are okay. I think they work it out. I don't know if they ever have find a third again. But I think Arx and Varn, after all is said and done, it's sort of that moment of like, none of the things that we were worried about actually matter. The world almost just ended. So yeah, good question there. Okay, I see we've got a few more, but let me pop back to us. Do we have any up here before I hop into the couple in the chat? No?
I have one, but I want to wait for everyone to be here. So.
Okay. So then I will go to, let's see, Haley's question is next. What might have happened if they'd actually gone through with the concentrating? Oh, that's funny. That's in the episode that we just watched. And it would have been weirdly religious. It would have been sort of an island hopping or an island hopping campaign in the same way that we did, but it wouldn't have been about the keys. It would have been about consecrating each of the nodes before the tieflings did to get Daenerys' anchors more powerful than Abbadis's. And then and as I think Robert said in the episode, Abbadis and Gavrael would have had much more influence and screen time influencing things in the world. And the end would have probably been some grand battle between you all and the tieflings and Abbadis and Gavrael.
So here's a follow-up to that. If you don't mind. So
no, of course not.
If it had become more like religious and more like a race to consecrate instead of the tieflings, like would the beast have been a thing at all, or would it have just been basically fighting the tieflings and Abaddis.
I think at one point in time, you and I had fleshed out whether Abaddis or Gavrail on their own, like CR-wise, the beast is roughly around what, like a pit fiend, which is what Abaddis is, and Gavrail is a Solar, right?
Well, I think the beast ended up a little higher than that, but
ended
but
up a little higher. But when we
yeah.
were first thinking about the beast,
yes.
So whether or not it would be some sort of fight between Abaddis and the beast, or Gavrail and the beast, and then everyone would have to decide whether they take down the victor. So it'd be less probably of like the NPC gathering assistance in the worldwide fight against the beast, and more like this is the first being that's existed on this place who has the power to challenge the beast, potentially.
Yeah.
And if they win, is that better or worse?
That also, if I remember correctly, and I'm sure I must because it's basically the plot line of Out of the Abyss. So that must have been pretty close to when we were talking about that when that came out. Because that's sort of the end of Out of the Abyss, right? Is the demon lords get to fight each other and then you fight whoever's left over, which is not how your party finished that campaign when I ran it for you, Robert. But that's fine. Okay, one more in the chat and then we'll get to yours, Robert, because hopefully Taryn will be back at that point. I lost it now. Here it is. From Mike, question, which moon magic effect are you most disappointed the cast never rolled? Obviously the one where you're afraid of trees. And number two...
But that's so situational. The magnet one's pretty fun.
The magnet one, that's true. The magnet one would also be awesome. And two, have you ever had a backup plan if one of the players died early in the series, like when Biz was butchered by the automatons? So yeah, we talked about this a couple of times. And there were several contingency plans that, like, I refused to flesh out too far because I was like, this breaks my brain. Like, I don't know what the show would be without these four specifically. But there was a possibility of a kobold joining the party. There were possibility of people from other islands. Like, once they got there, you know, the player with the dead character would have been someone they met in another island to open up, you know, race options a little bit. You know, I never considered like, oh, there's another sister who shows, like, it was never that, right? It wouldn't have been, it would have been, we would have gone with it. We would have run with it. And there were several times. There was the time that Biz was butchered by automatons. There was the time that they fought the Necroman and we were all convinced they were going to die. So there've been a few of those moments.
Yeah.
Robert, do you want to ask yours?
Oh, sure. I wanted to bring a little bit of levity.
Oh, please, by all means. And Taryn, you are still muted, just so you know, on your
children's tunes in the background.
That's fine. Oh, we can't hear them right now, but that's fine.
I just want to know from the cast, we could just do everyone's favorite NPC in the entire campaign.
Oh.
Who did everyone
Zagara.
love the most? Zagara, okay.
Yeah.
It has to be different people as well.
Oh.
Because I have a follow-up question to this.
My first instinct was RX, but I mean, Drank still maybe?
Yeah, I kind of figured yours would be one of those.
The Venus flytrap.
Yeah. Morsi.
The Venus.
Morsi. So Morsi, I don't think I've told you all this. Morsi has made an appearance in my Saturday morning Ravenloft campaign. Our Vulture Aarakocra Ranger cleric cast Speak with Plants on a houseplant. And I decided that it was Morsi. And then and then Fletch, because he's Fletch, bled and fed the fucking with the blood. It was bad. He was also at that moment though very, very high on disintegrated hag. So like it was a whole thing.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a weird campaign.
In a D&D concept. But I do have a second to Morsi.
Oh, okay.
Was Robert 2.0's Ross voice. The one that was like a
Ross from Monsters Inc. Yeah. So she is so this voice is a staple in my streams. Her name is Sister Oran. And there's a channel point redeem that you can do once per stream because it's a lot. But you can make her come out and she comments on whatever's happening in the game.
Oh my god.
do love the Roberts. I have a.
Oh God! Oh, speaking of, I guess she's here for 3 more minutes, Sister Oran. Hold on, I gotta get my timer started. Okay, here we go. Okay, did anyone else? Did anyone not? You didn't give a favorite, did you, Alex?
I didn't give one, but I'm struggling with a favorite because I have many favorites for many different reasons. Are we going for the one that we love the most?
Sure.
Or the one that we?
Listen,
Well,
I gotta
that's
give
why I
Shimmy
don't
his
love.
channel points worth, so I gotta talk, you know. Also, wait, let me just say real quick why Alex thinks you all had me coming yesterday to Dead Space, and that was a hellscape. It was awful. There were monsters trying to eat me. This is much better. These people seem very friendly.
Yeah. I think I have to go with the original Robert then. The one over the speaker that eventually turned into the Robert.
They were pretty great. Yeah, when he had the ee-haw voice. Yeah, that was, that was great and also very wild to do as Sister Oran, I have to
also
tell you.
the code binary that was.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's in
funny.
one of the fan arts that was up on the set somewhere too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I brought that up the other day. There was some show we were watching that someone like said a bunch of zeros and ones, and I was like, that better mean something.
I love that. I love that.
All right, so my follow-up question
Oh,
is
no.
from this little group we have. We have about 5 or 6 now. If we can just pick one for each. Kill, marry, or fuck as a group.
We have actual questions in the chat.
You all think about that question. I'm gonna get to who's got the other question.
I put drinks in
It's
there.
a
We
sundew.
all know where that
Yeah,
is.
you fucking drags.
I got my vote.
Listen, he is swole bold. He's looking good. What can I say? All right,
I've been
Kings.
very public about my affection for Drake.
It's true.
Yes.
It's
Very
true.
public.
Listen, you just need the naked moon magic, and there's a party. All right.
For everyone involved. All right.
All right. So, King Sundew says, "What inspired the flip of aboliths in the sky versus the water?" You know what? I'll tell you exactly what it was. It was these motherfuckers insisting on a fucking airship. I was like, well, I need something cool in the air.
I don't think
Did
we
we insist on
insisted on
air?
it.
I think it was a joke.
I thought you just wanted to diversify
Here's-
our means of travel.
Look, check the tapes. I might be wrong, but here's the thing: if Tarot is right and it was just a joke, I don't know how you all expect me to identify just jokes versus serious after all this time. I still don't know if the I don't. I still don't know if the well was a joke.
The well was not a joke.
See, this is what I mean.
They were
My God.
Yeah, we were pets. The well was not a joke. We really.
Oh Lord! All right, last question in the
loved it.
chat right now is: this might be obvious for some people, I don't know, but did you have a specific influence behind the world itself for The Last Refuge? So, oh hi Zazbiff, welcome in. No, and I'm gonna let Jazzy tell you the rest about it because my 3 minutes are up. Goodbye, everybody.
Aw.
I didn't. So there were a couple of things that influenced just sort of the way I built it as we went. One of them was like, I put you all on a starter island, like in a video game, because I needed you not to wander too far and also not die. So like that was part of it, to have the islands broken up and sort of have seasons delineated that way, excuse me, was part of that. In terms of like what was on each island and what the flavors were and all of that, it was mostly just trying to pick, with the exception of the world below, I guess, non-standard player race creatures, right? So kobolds and orcs and yuan-ti and goblins and whatever else was on the Eastern Island before they all got killed, right? So part of it was just trying to pick those people to populate the world in like non-traditional ways. And then part of it was just what cool monsters I found in, like I said in this episode, a lot of Kobold Press books, because those were what, at least in my mind, was like fleshing out the vibe of the world. So the Western Island, TLR, was a lot of like heavy, dense forest creatures, right? And the Eastern Island had a bunch, well, obviously had like underground things, particularly when the Earth Elementals were coming. So those were sort of the things, but there wasn't a specific influence. No, not really.
I kind of, to piggyback off of the inspiration type questions, I wrote this one. What was your inspiration for the 3 embodiments of the divination, Uza, Rithmala, and guard? What was your like?
So part of that was, although we saw this more acutely in Rithmala's section, but part of it was the concept that I believe comes from Eberron, the setting Eberron for D&D, of living spells. And you saw some of those in Rithmala's area, right? But then the three of them in particular was just basically that idea, but taken to 11, right? Uza in particular as the divination one, I will say she in particular didn't have a specific inspiration. Her design was done so that you all couldn't pump her for information I didn't want you to have yet. So her whole like she is broken in time was largely just because I didn't want you asking questions that I didn't know the answers to yet. Rithmala is sort of every, in my mind, is sort of every evil enchantress, right? Who uses magic to get what, you know, so the Queen from Snow White and the whatever. She grew into someone who is less decidedly like evil,
I was gonna
right?
say, she doesn't sound evil or malicious in any way.
No, and she grew, well, yeah, I mean, we can talk about whether she's evil or not.
I mean, I
think it's fair to classify her as dangerous. Yes, sure.
The second time we meet her, you were very clear in that it's almost like within her nature to enchant. Like she's not doing it on purpose.
Yes, that is definitely true. But also, like, she also did want to like take over the world.
Yeah, I guess.
So yeah, she's like, you know, she's Snow White. Snow White's the evil stepsister or stepmother. She's Maleficent, sure. She's all of those queens who use enchantment, right? Not battle magic necessarily, although Maleficent did that too. But and then Guard is so this is actually where Guard came from, is many, many years ago, my Friday night D&D group, this is before Robert joined us, we finished a 20th level campaign, and a good chunk of the end of that campaign took place in the city of Brass, which is the main city on the Plane of Fire. And one of the like bosses that we fought in that at the end of that campaign was this very cool elemental from the city of Brass. And so I sort of played with that idea of like, you know, an elemental with sentience and the ability to create more of it and all of these, again, just like taking those basic ideas and putting them to 11 because they were the results of this massive arcane calamity, right? So just ramping everything up on the knob. Yeah, that's where they came from. Sundu asks where the Hydra mating dance with the sub came from. Who came up with that? I think it... Who are you pointing at? Are you trying to point at me? Because I think it was. You all want it to be Robert, but I think it was me. I do. I think it was. I think Robert may have come up with the horny Hydra.
Yeah, that was definitely me. The solution to solve it and the mating dance was you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, sometimes our disparate brains work well together.
One of my favorite Nat fan arts was that part when Bizdira was like, can we just like try to beat it off and then realize what I said?
That was such a great...
It was almost like comic style too, I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
That is definitely one of my favorites because I literally, it was absolutely one of the most moments of being like, I just said that, didn't I? Didn't mean to say that.
I love it. We got one more in the chat. Follow-up question. If the Western Island was the last refuge, does the world as a whole, all the islands together, have a name? No. And I will say, like, yes, part of it was because I am bad at names, right? But also, the end of the world every 1,000 years, right? It's had a bunch of names throughout time. And I don't know what it was called this time because I don't think any of the cultures on the world, when you all showed up, interfaced enough for there to be a worldwide name for the world, right? None of them really interacted, certainly not peaceably. So actually, here I don't think there. I will say I don't think in the time period of our show, I don't think there was. No, I don't think there was a world name. And the last refuge.
To name the world
No.
for when all of the
No.
Arcanists
Where's her
were
mute
they-
button? Huh. What? Go.
Free Willia.
What do you want to
Yeah,
name?
yeah.
Wait, you want to name the world? Wait, what did you say?
When all the Arcanists, because they were all communicating with each other.
Yeah.
So when all of them were, there was a name, and
Yeah.
so I asked Alex to name it.
Frowilia.
Frowilia?
Yaza. Frowilia Yaza.
Frowilia, yes. Were you is the DVD of Free Willy like on your desk somewhere? Like where did that?
No, I just watched Drag Race not that long ago, and she says Free Willy.
Oh
as
my
she,
God!
like,
Yes,
dives
when she
over.
died. God, that was a hell of a lip sync.
It was so good.
So yeah,
Free
and then
Willia. Frowilia.
Frowilia.
I'm writing it
Okay,
down.
I'm
Willia.
no.
And this is how we announce Series 2 for Willia.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Speaking of Series 2, bye, DM. Speaking of Series 2, Robert,
Bye.
can you give us any taste of what you have thoughts of for campaign 2?
I mean, there were lots of intentional things that we left in the finale season as things we can play off of. Obviously, Ogwarp is one of the biggest ones, but I think we're still deciding a lot of things, like whether we want it to be a prequel, whether we want it to be a sequel,
Yeah.
whether we want it to be, if it's a sequel, like, is it 10, 100, 1,000? Like, how many years in the future are we talking about? So there are different things that we can trace, because, for example, Oglarp and Rithmala are, if not, they are very close to being immortal beings unless killed. So they'll probably be around any point in time in the future. There are various things that we hinted that are not that obvious that we'll see if they come up again. But I think we're still trying to figure out what type of story we want to tell and what point in time. Because the beast's existence is such a fixed point. Like it really, anything before it, it's probably going to be more beast related unless we tell the story of how the beast was created, which we already know that story.
Right.
Anything after, then yeah, we're still figuring out the time period.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well.
Although it probably, the reference to the last refuge, which just to piggyback off of your point, all the islands in a way, I mean, we focus on the starter island, the western island being the last refuge, but in a way they were all the last refuge because they were the last bastions of civilization that kept surviving after destruction every 1,000 years. So we probably will have to change the name, maybe, unless
maybe.
Maybe
I mean, or a
each
good
island gets
subtitle.
an individual name. We will come up with them now. They are.
While you think about that, I just want to also say, right, that is very true now that we know the whole story about the name The Last Refuge, but originally that name was actually just a kobold name for what they thought of as their world because they had fled. There's some story about that in some early episodes. But
because I remember specifically re-listening to this.
Oh yeah?
And you say, you're like saying something and you go, The Last Refuge. And I go, well, that's the title of this whole series. And you're like, I just made that up.
Yes, correct.
And then, of course, The Last Refuge, we found out significantly after, was also the name of this conservative podcast.
Oh my God, yes.
Which has been attacking our Facebook for years. Listeners,
We've never
they've been
talked about
attacking
this.
our Facebook for years.
It's wild.
Every time we get a new
Attacking or
person
just,
join
like-
and it shows up, I go, oh, I'm going to look at that profile and just delete.
It is wild, and it's a nightmare on our SEO. Yes, that is true. I did just come up with it in the moment, but it was moderately informed at the time, and then later sort of, retroactively fleshed out that the kobolds had actually fled, like, persecution by other peoples, in their storied past, and these sets of tunnels were their last refuge from those that would hunt them.
Their history of how the Shimmer Scale got to them ties to that story as well, and what their beliefs are about that historical record.
I like Shimmy's idea. We just name each island after y'all.
There you go.
Oh, okay. So Semyaza, Flick Yaza, Jan Yaza. Just kidding.
Hilarious. It was Flick the whole time.
It was Flick
I
the whole
have a
time. There it is.
question. So when we were doing the trials, right, in the season 1,
Those trials,
and
okay.
we had the in the audience. Did you have Chuckles as a character fleshed out, or was that just like you being silly?
I was taunting you all.
You were what?
Yeah.
I was taunting you. He was laughing at you all. And the other teams too. But
laughing with us.
No, he was laughing at you.
I mean,
no, I didn't at all.
Yeah. The great thing about actual play, unlike actual story writing, is you don't know where the cast is going to take the story. So the whole evolution of Chuckles and his history as potentially an all Glorp entity is retroactive as a justification for how all Glorp would know so much about you, or like any of those type of questions. But yeah, it works perfectly, and we patted ourselves on the back.
Yeah, it was nice.
Tying up some of those loose ends.
I love it. I watched with my friend Cody last week, who's a longtime listener of the show, and he at the very end went, it's Chuckles. It was Chuckles all along, and I was like, I don't know. Like that's so like the listeners were with us. They were there.
Yes. Oh man.
I'm Chuckles.
Well,
are there any other questions?
There are not in the chat.
What do I have? We talked about the prophecy in the middle of the episode, the other prophecy that we were maybe going to get.
Yeah, so in theory you could have gotten round. Yeah, in theory you could have gotten up to 3 prophecies every time you cast it. There was one other prophecy that we had planned the second time you cast it, which was the time that you learned about like the keys and the elemental protections and all that. But the third one, like Robert said backstage, like we made sure to give them to you in order of importance, right? Based on your roll, and you rolled, I guess you rolled 2, so or rolled A3 and got 2. So the third one that we had planned was just some visions of the water key up on the northern island to help you all find it if you had, if that ended up needing to be a thing. But you all didn't need the hint, so you were fine.
We were good.
Yeah, and also you can sort of feel that like I know Karn, you wanted there to be more of the puzzle, right? It would have been fun if there had been more. But the truth is, it's really hard to write a prophecy when I don't know the end, right? So speaking to the what's different from writing a story is that I didn't want to shoehorn you all into anything as little as I could. And so I had to be so vague. So you all got most of it. Yeah.
Baby birds.
Baby birds, you know. You know.
Dealing with divination magic in D&D 101, you know?
Yeah.
Surprisingly,
how do you do it?
Eugenio and I are not actually diviners.
Wildly enough.
Yeah.
Wildly enough.
You're kidding.
All this time.
No.
No one answered my kill, marry, or fuck question. I'm just gonna.
We all made that pretty clear.
Yeah, great.
Fair enough.
Marry Oryx. That's the only one I'll give you.
I need a little bit of a stronger personality.
Nobody said Oryx as their favorite character, though.
I thought Taryn did it first.
Well, you changed your mind though, right?
Okay, well then we'll take it. Oh, that hurts though.
Yeah, that's okay.
I can definitely tell you I'd kill Sagara.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, because you tried to.
Many times.
This for Sagara.
Which is even funnier if you know that Zagara, the name, came from a little raffle that we did, and the name Zagara came from one of your friends, Lydia, who entered.
One of my friends. A guy I worked with in New York who is made me the best.
Oh my God, you have to finish the sentence because right now
I've ever had the best ceviche I've ever had.
Okay, ceviche, great.
That could have gone anywhere, frankly.
It was like
he was a sous chef at one of the jobs that I worked in New York, and he's great.
Now he's forever immortalized as the moss lurker you hate.
Love. If you had the chance.
Honestly, though, it kind of tracks because when we first met, he kept talking to me, and I'm like, why are you
Incredible.
Like, why are you latching on to me so hard? And
Amazing.
then he won me over. And
I love it.
Oh.
Anything
Wow.
else? Last thoughts, last words, last questions?
Stay tuned for season 2. Not season 2, chapter 2.
Campaign 2?
I'm sure that I
Series
probably
2?
said this before,
Mm.
but do you two, you and Robert, feel satisfied?
Oh my God, yes. Oh my God, in every way, and
Wow.
even some.
Of course,
What if
Robert.
I were all this time?
No,
Robert's
yes,
It was
I'm
Robert all
absolutely.
so
along.
angry. There's so much we missed and didn't do.
No, but even
I
if
will
that was,
say-
oh, go ahead. No, I was even if that was true, like that's part of my job. No, I'm absolutely thrilled. You go.
Yeah, I will say one of the things we talked about, because I thought it would be an interesting
Oh, yes.
campaign ender.
Surprised we haven't talked about this
cliffhanger,
before now.
Ladder hanger, was that I initially suggested if you all survived, that someone would die because they were taken over by the Aldlorp, and we would randomly determine it, / it would probably be, well, I'm not going to reveal who it would probably be, but
Actually,
and
not
that
you,
would be-
Bizdira, though. I'll tell you that.
and that would be the tie to season 2, although that would be much closer related in time. Because I think for many reasons, not least of which is all the emotions that you all successfully beating this monster right at the end of the campaign. We didn't go in that direction, and that is another example of Eugenio containing my murder hobo tendencies.
Which is funny you say that because this comes on the heels of while we were backstage, you saying that you do pacifist runs of video game RPGs, but it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, it was one of those moments.
So you know.
Huh?
There's one more in the comments. I
Oh,
think.
great. I'll check in just a second. Yeah, there were times throughout the show where it wasn't tempering necessarily your murder hobo, it was balancing a lot of things, right? So it was balancing the story that we were telling, and also balancing, frankly, y'all four's like enjoyment and satisfaction, then also balancing future potential for the story. Particularly as we got later on and we started actually sort of seeing the end take shape, right? There was a lot of like, okay, we need to leave X, Y, and Z possibilities open. We don't want to shoehorn them into anything, but there are certain things that we simply can't do because we have 10 hours in a studio that we have to do this in, right? So there was a lot of those things that I just had to like go through and balance in my head. And that was one of them, right? Where it was just like, I don't think this is the satisfying ending for the 6 of us that we potentially thought it might have been at one point. So Haley in the chat asks, my favorite NPC to embody or step into. I love playing Octavia.
Knew it.
I know. I had a feeling too.
Yeah,
I
I
did
love
too.
playing Octavia. And, I think part of that is simply because Octavia is, which is weird to think about because we didn't meet her till season 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But she was one of the most present NPCs who like interacted with you all the most. Because we had the kobolds, but after season 4 and you all left the last refuge, like we really didn't see a ton of them for a while. So Octavia was just really present a lot of the time. Who else did I?
Sniv?
Huh?
Not even Sniv?
I did enjoy Sniv. It was a fun voice to do. I did enjoy
Oh my God,
Sniv,
I
and
take
he
back
became such
anything I
a.
ever said about any NPC. Sniv is my favorite NPC.
There you
of
go.
the entire
There you
campaign.
go.
That's it.
There, and now we can do the fuck, marry, kill because obviously
there we
everyone
go.
marries Sniv.
Sniv. There you go. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. I think it was either Octavia or potentially Sniv. I'll put him up there. Yeah.
It's so funny. I love the fact that we made a joke about you needing to give Sniv a pirate voice and you fucking rolled with it.
Yeah. Listen, it just comes naturally to those of the sea. Because that was why I thought it was funny at first, and then it just stuck. But it was like, he's the only ship captain in the world.
Of course he's
but
a
I
pirate.
guess he's a pirate.
As you
He
do.
talks like one.
As you do.
I also I gotta say that one of my like favorite moments in the entire campaign was when we were talking to the kobolds after we'd gotten back to the Western Island.
Okay.
After like things had started and they were like building ships and all that, and we're sitting around a campfire and we're talking to the group that went to the center island, and one of them starts talking, the other one like elbows him, and he's like, "Oh, right, sorry," and pulls out the pirate voice.
Yes.
I fucking died.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
absolutely died.
Listen, they're of the sea, so you know they had to do the thing.
They
Yeah,
learned
to be
from the
clear,
best.
Sniv does not talk like that naturally, right? Like that's absolutely an affectation. Hooray.
Oh my gosh.
All right. Well, I think, listen, we could be on here all night, but like, I think we should wrap up. I love you all very much. I don't know. We've said it all. We don't need to do it all again, but thank you, all five of you. And thank you, all of you that are still here, and including Shimi Genga, who is now having an existential crisis about Sniv, which is amazing. Thank you all for watching, for listening, for, you know, like I said in my thread, like if you're here, this is your first time, if you've been listening since episode 1, like, thanks. I don't know. It's been amazing. Very quickly, because this feels so gross after this lovely night. I'll be online tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern playing fun stuff. Come hang out with me. Sunday, Rivals of Waterdeep. You know where to find us. Cool. Thank you so much for y'all are so welcome.
Thank you, DM
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Robert, thank you for building this world and creating this story that we got to fuck up.
Nah,
In all the ways.
It happened. It's like a wizard always arriving on time. All of this happened exactly the way it was meant to. So.
And thank you so much for creating the dagger. I really appreciate it.
On that note,
Yeah, I feel like that feels like a good little moment.
yeah, we should.
I appreciate you all so much. Stay safe, stay healthy, get vaccinated and boosted. Oh, happy gaming, y'all.
Happy gaming.